especially if you're playing in a Rose Bowl in that highly populated Southern California area.
That's exactly what Don James said, because he said, hey, when guys talk to us, they want to know how many watches and rings they're going to walk away with.
I don't know how much recruiting he'll do in El Paso, Texas, but we'll see. Jim Walden, yes, lots of rumors flying around. The University of Houston has contacted the Washington State Athletic Department asking for permission to talk with him. A lot of rumors about the Wisconsin job, the Iowa State job. It's driving Jim nuts, let's face it. And all he wants to concentrate now on is this ball game. Little windy as Thane Cleveland has to move up to re-tee the ball. And he'll kick off instead of Jeff Jaeger. Jaeger looking at a chance to possibly set a new national record in field goals. He has 77 and needs 2 to tie John Lee from UCLA. But Thane Cleveland, again, will be doing the kicking for kickoffs and will also do the punting. We are underway. The 79th Apple Cup is here. Michael James in the end zone lets the ball fly away with the wind halfway to Moscow, and the Cougars will start things from their own 20-yard line. So, Sam, they're going into the wind right off the bat. The Cougars, here is the starting lineup for Washington State. Kuiper, Lindner, Boatman, Utley, the premier guard for this team. Dyko and Mel Orchard at tight end. The running backs, Blunt, not at 100%. Tingstad, Kerry Porter looking for his 13th, possibly 1,300-yard game. Michael James, Rick Chase, receivers. And now here we go. 1st and 10 from their own 20-yard line. Ed Blunt at quarterback. Wide receivers to both sides. Bircher in motion, number 85, with the split backs behind Blunt. They go to Porter right off the bat, trying to establish the dive, and not much there. Not a surprise.
Washington State coming out with 3 wide receivers, trying to stretch that Husky defense and take advantage of going up the middle.
Up front, Habib, Alvord, Rogers. Alvord and Rogers with 7 sacks each. Bo Yates, David Rill, Erlinson, Roberts, the people in the back, and Zachary Demoy Williams playing for injured Art Malone. Darrell Hall and Tim Peoples are the safeties. So here come the Cougars now on 2nd down and 9 after the 1-yard gain by Kerry Porter on the straight dive. Tingstad goes in motion. Looks for the look into Rod Olson, the tight end. And he gets up near the 29-yard line as Demoy Williams was in there along with Tommy Erlinson, number 46, for the Washington Huskies. Erlinson by far the leader in deflected passes for Washington with 11. As Don James says, next year he's got to learn to catch those balls instead of just bat them down.
Take off those boxing gloves and he might have a chance.
So it's 3rd down and 1. You'll see a lot of replacements by the Cougars. They bring in their plays with their wide receivers. 3rd down and 1 on the 29. Shifting is Rod Olson, number 46, to the left tight end positions. It's sweep Porter to the left side, short of the 1st down. And it will be 4th down for the Cougars, punting into the wind.
That was an amazing recovery by the Husky defense that time. Washington State shifting the tight end over, trying to get them to move. Washington shifted late. Washington State then goes on a quick count, but Washington was still able to pursue and make the play and stop them short of a 1st down. So it's 4th down, a punting situation.
Rob Myers back to do the punting, averaging 40.1 yards per punt. Has improved quite a bit in the last couple of games, as a matter of fact. Andre Riley back to receive, and you know how dangerous he can be. Low wobbly punt. It'll roll, and it looks, a Husky roll. And it stays right on the 45 of Washington. So good field goal, or good field position rather, for the Washington Huskies as they will start their first drive of the day behind Chris Chandler and company on the 45-yard line, Husky territory.
That makes it tough for that Washington State defense when you give the Huskies and the offense that good a field position for their opening drive.
Well, we said that Myers would be punting into the wind. That was only a 26-yard punt, especially after the bad bounce. So here come the Huskies behind Chris Chandler. And the numbers on Chris this year. 1st and 10 from their own 45. Darrell Franklin in motion. Mo Hill wide to the left as they go to Vince Weathersby. Weathersby gets a couple. Looking at the lineups, Chandler at quarterback with the sore shoulders but feels better. Covington for Rick Finney. Vince Weathersby, Darrell Franklin, and Mo Hill are the wide receivers for the Huskies. On the line, Rod Jones, the all-time leading receiver for tight end position at the Huskyville. And then Griffith, Thomas, Brostick, Zendowski, and Gogan. Thomas starting for the injured Brent Weesey, who has a pinched nerve. 2nd down and 7 on the 48 for Washington, their first drive of the afternoon. Rod Jones, the tight end, going in motion. Straight dive, looking for Covington, and he is held up, and nice penetration on the part of the Washington State Cougars. Ron Collins making the stop, along with Ivan Cook, who came in very well and grabbed a foot.
Watch that pursuit. They shut down the hole that Tony Covington wanted to go in, and then look at all the red jerseys you see around that football. Tony Covington almost got it outside, though. I think Tony adds a big element at fullback in his outside running ability for the Washington offense.
Big play, Sam. 3rd down and 9 from the 46 after the loss on that play. Straight drop back. Now the rollout. Chandler with time. Got Franklin's going deep to Mo Hill. Too deep. And too long. Mo Hill was tripped up, but it was before the ball was thrown, I believe, so no call. And we'd have to go with the referee on that one.
Unbelievable throw. 60 yards in the air with a partially separated shoulder. Chris Chandler running to his left, which makes it even that much more difficult. And he just unloaded that ball. It bounced 2 yards deep in the end zone.
So Thane Cleland will drop back for the Huskies after kicking off, averaging a little over 41 yards per punt. His longest in 1986, 63 yards. Standing on his own 33-yard line. High, wobbly punt. Kittrick Taylor back to get it on his own 10. Lets it go and on into the end zone. Got a flag down. We do have a flag down. Flag down. All right, we'll take a break of our own. We'll be right back in just a moment.
"96 calories. 96 calories. Mountain Fresh taste.
Hello, Brian. I was with her last night. You know who? That blonde with the Porsche. Guess what happened? Yeah.
Union Bay Sportswear. You wear it. You don't talk about it.
A 53-yard punt by Thane Cleland, plus a clipping penalty on Washington State. So instead of being on the 20, 1st and 10, it'll be 1st and 10 from their own 10-yard line. And that is where Washington State will start things up. Got to set up the chains. Evidently, our first down markers over on the far side, the Washington State side of the field, as you look at Jim Walden with that record of 44, 51, and 4 in his 9th year at Washington State. Had a lot of fun with Don James and Jim Walden on our show last night. It was live across the state. To listen to those two match wits, it was colorful to say the least. Got some Huskies over here, a lot of Huskies. We're now packed. We've got just about every seat taken. As the Cougars now come out 1st and 10 on their own 10-yard line. Second possession, look at this. 3 men shifting to the right side. Look for a lot of misdirection, counter plays by Washington State. This time, though, it's a plain old student body right, and Steve Alvord, the middle guard, is ready for him as he makes the play for Washington, the senior out of Bellingham, who has 9 tackles for losses this year, 7 sacks. He's tied along with Reggie Rogers. Steve Roberts as well with 7 sacks.
I think that's one of the keys, though, to the Washington defense is the fact that their defensive line is so active, and they are up there in the top 5, 6 leading tacklers on this team, whereas in most cases it's the secondary people that are involved in the leading tackles.
No gain on the play. 2nd down and 10. Still back on their own 10-yard line as you watch Kittrick Taylor. Here's the misdirection we talked about. Blunt looking, heavy rush. Complete, though, to Rod Olson. 1st down out beyond the 20 to the 23-yard line. Good pressure on Blunt. We have a Husky down in the backfield.
I think it's Brian Habib who is down. There was some of that misdirection that you had talked about, Don. They faked the toss sweep, and then Ed Blunt coming around the outside. Reggie Rogers really wasn't fooled, though. He maintained his leverage on the outside and forced Ed to pull up and make a very difficult throw. That was a nice play. Nice throw on Ed Blunt's part.
Brian Habib, just a junior out of Ellensburg. Washington feels with him coming back and a number of other players like Jay Roberts won't be much drop-off at all in regards to their play next year.
Watch Ed Blunt take that toss. You see them move to the left, and then he comes back. You see Reggie Rogers put the pressure on him, but Ed finds Rod Olson over the middle. Nice completion. That's such a difficult throw. When you're running to your left and having to throw the ball back into the middle of the field, it's hard to get anything on that football. And, boy, to get it between those linebackers is something.
Dennis Seeley on the right helping Brian Habib come off. So Bob Willig's in for him.
And Brian missed all the spring ball last year because of his knee injury. He injured it last year in the last play of the California game. And then he recovered and rehabbed all spring. And let's hope he's all right and can come back today.
After the first down on the 20, on the reception by Olson, so it's 1st and 10 on the 24 for Washington State. Still has it. The option pitch to Kerry Porter. Big opening. Bo Yates there to make the kill along with Darrell Hall, but not until Porter gets a first down. This is the key, Sam. Washington State has to keep their offense on the field.
That's right. That's the only way they're going to stop that potent Washington offense. And it was interesting, one of the articles this week in the paper was talking about, for once, Washington has a more explosive offense than Washington State. There you see Kerry Porter catch that pitch on the option and then just head north and south and just lower his head for that first down.
Bo Yates, Darrell Hall coming in on the tackle. 1st and 10 for Washington State. Their second first down of the day. This is their second drive of the afternoon here in the first quarter. No score. Straight dive. Kerry Porter gets about 3 as he is up near the 38-yard line of Washington State. Neither team into their opponent's territory yet. This is the second drive, as I said, for the Cougars. Second down and 7 on the 38. Quick snap, quick pitch. Porter tries to get around the corner, but Bo Yates and company in there. Sam?
Washington State broke the huddle and ran to the line of scrimmage. Washington defense was still in their huddle. They tried to get set and snap the ball before Washington could get their alignment.
There are the numbers of what he needs so far. Kerry Porter looking for his second 1,000-yard season. He has 18 yards so far on 6 carries today. He needed exactly 169 coming in, just like in 1983 when he got exactly 169 yards and had a 1,000-yard season. But now it's 1986, and it is 3rd down and 4 on the 41, and Ed Blunt wants a timeout as there's some confusion on the Cougars side. So we'll take a timeout of our own. 9:38 remaining first quarter. No score in Apple Cup 86. This is the Kelly Sports Network.
Soaring high on the wings of time, spray of orchids, a silken grace, 2 hands in welcome, the gentle face of time, take the sky on the wings of time.
A catastrophe in the future.
They're under the attack of an orbiting probe.
Look! Can only be averted by a journey into Earth's past.
What is our condition? I will make a guess.
A guess.
You, Spock? That's extraordinary.
No matter what the risk.
That's all I can give you.
The crew of the Enterprise is coming home. Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home, rated PG.
Starts Wednesday, November 26th at a theater near you.
No score here in the first quarter. Washington State with the ball on their second drive. 3rd down and 4 on the 41 after Ed Blunt called a timeout. Michael James in motion. Blunt looking to throw across the middle. He's got James first down. And we have a flag down in the backfield of Washington State after the completion by Ed Blunt.
Usually thrown in the holding area. Ed Blunt slapping his hands in disgust.
And it is holding on Washington State. Tim Peoples in on the stop, but they'll back it up. And it'll be 3rd and long rather than 3rd and 4, Sam. That's what hurts.
Puts them in a tough situation. In order for Washington State to hang in this ball game, they have to play error-free football and count on a little bit of help from the Washington Huskies.
10-yard penalty.
Holding, offense, still 3rd down.
They need to get up to the 45.5-yard line for a first down, so it's 3rd down and 14 from their own 31. And here come the wide receivers bringing in the play from Jim Walden. Jim 3-5 in his series with Don James. Here comes Ed Blunt. His final game as a Washington State Cougar. 3rd down and 14. Bircher in motion. And another timeout. That is now 2 timeouts. Jim Walden is livid on the sideline. And I don't think he's yelling at referees. Cougars are obviously confused on the field about something they see on the defense, Sam.
Well, there was confusion, and when you're 3rd and 14, you don't want to take any chances, because this early in the ball game, with them kicking into the wind, last time they had a 26-yard punt, they have to realize they cannot make a mistake right here. So what they're trying to do is Ed wants to make sure everybody's in the right position. They were not in the right formation, so he consequently takes time out.
Let's go down to Keith Shipman on the sidelines.
Injury update on Brian Habib, the Huskies defensive tackle. He has a sprained left knee. He got that on a chop block, they say, and he may be back in the second half. They're going to wait till halftime to figure out if they will use Habib during the rest of this ball game. Now let's go to the Cougar sideline. Bud Namick.
Thank you, Keith. With me is Glenn Harper, former Cougar punter. That's kind of interesting. Glenn is from Edmonton. He's kicking for the Calgary Stampede. Glenn, that's kind of like being from Pullman playing for the Huskies.
It certainly is, especially when, you know, a lot of people still remember me up in Edmonton from my high school days and stuff, and I gave them a little thing to remember me by throwing a pass, and that seemed to quiet them down a little bit.
All right, Glenn, welcome back to Pullman. Let's head back upstairs to Don and Sam.
So following the holding penalty on Washington State, it is 3rd down and 14 from the 31. 2 timeouts eaten up already by the Cougars with 9 minutes remaining in the first quarter. Blunt still has it, and he is all down. Fumble. It looks like it might be Husky ball. Let's see. As Blunt lost control of the ball, Reggie Rogers was in there knocking it loose. Clock has been stopped.
The Huskies aren't jumping around, so it doesn't look like they came up with the football.
Nevertheless, it's still 4th down, though, for the Cougars, and they have to again punt into the wind, fairly deep in their own territory, as Rob Myers comes out to handle the punting chores for the Cougars. No score. Kind of a quiet Apple Cup so far. We're so used to an explosive game, and it hasn't happened so far.
That's because the fans in the stands are numb right now.
Maybe the players, too. I don't know. There's Myers back to punt. Averaging just over 40 yards. Andre Roddy back. Wobbly punt to the right. Flag down as the ball rolls out of bounds near the 44-yard line. And there is a flag after Rob Myers punted the football. And let's see what comes out of the convention of striped shirts there in the middle of the field. Here's the call. Holding on the Huskies.
Against Washington. See if it's going to be before or after the kick.
Well, it was 4th and 11. That would be a 10-yard penalty. So even if they take the penalty, it would still be 4th and 1, as I understand, depending on where that took place, the infraction, or is it from the line of scrimmage?
I believe defensive holding's automatic 1st down.
Ah, well, that's why you're the expert.
21-yard punt that time. Whoa. So that wind is really taking its toll.
Yeah, he had a 26-yarder earlier, then a 21-yard punt, and right now Rob Myers, who's a freshman out of La Cañada, California, is wondering if he'll have to punt again. And they'll mark it off 10 yards. It's now up to the 44-yard line.
Holding, defense, still 4th down.
Okay, so they still have to punt. So Myers, his 3rd punt. Andre Riley is back again. Any tomfoolery, you think, Sam?
I don't think so.
Too deep in their own territory, maybe, or just too early in the game?
I think it's too early in the game. If the offense was having some success, I think they would go ahead and try something.
Andre Riley in the top 20 punt returners in the country. He's calling a fair catch on his own 21-yard line. So that's where the Huskies will have their second offensive drive from their own 21. And we've got 8:21 remaining. Ed Blunt talking with the coaches upstairs. He ate up 2 timeouts. That's going to be critical. It's like foul shots in basketball. When you get too many team fouls early in the first half or second half, you never know when you might have to go to the well for that timeout. But now they have but 1 remaining before intermission.
Fortunately for Washington State, they worked on their 2-minute drill with no timeout, so maybe that's what Ed's thinking.
Good punt by Myers, 39 yards with a good roll. Pearson 10, Franklin in motion. They give to Vince Weathersby. He gets a good 1st down play out near the 26-yard line to about the 28. Brian Ford was the tackler. Marvin Adams, Rob Cleveland, Tim Downing, and Chris Hiller, the front men for the Washington State Cougars. Metcalf, Brian Ford, who doubles in total tackles anybody else on the team, and the linebacker, Reynolds, Collins, Thomason, and Chappelle are the people in the secondary. So it's 2nd down and 5. That's exactly what Don James likes, is about 4 to 5 yards on 1st down. Ron Jones, tight end right. 2nd and 5. Looks over the middle, not there. Swing pass to lay it off. Covington cuts in against the pursuit and didn't get a whole lot. He needed 5 for the 1st down. Brian Ford in there along with Maury Metcalf for the Cougars on the stop. Brian Ford is some kind of athlete. Only a junior at 6'2", 224 pounds.
Watch Chris Chandler pump fake downfield, trying to get the defense to continue their drop and then lay it off to Tony Covington in the sideline. Washington State, though, wasn't fooled. Maury Metcalf closed in nicely on Tony Covington as well as Brian Ford.
Ford in the initial stop. It is now 3rd down and 3 after the 2-yard gain by the Huskies. Chandler looks over the middle, has Mo Hill, and good enough for the 1st down out at the 37-yard line. The first down now for Chandler and company as the Huskies try to put together a drive. Brian Ford in on the tackle.
Mo Hill working one-on-one against Ricky Reynolds. Washington State taking their best defensive back, and no matter where Mo Hill goes, Ricky Reynolds will be with him all day long.
Here's the old one-hand drill, too, for Mo Hill. Comes down with the left hand and tries to get extra yardage. Just 1 touchdown away from a Washington record. 1st and 10 on their own 37. 6:40 remaining here in the 1st quarter. Chandler to throw again. A little down and out for Mo Hill. Too long, too high, too far. So it'll be 2nd down and 10, still on their own 37-yard line. Jeff Jager, we're wondering if we'll see him today. Of course, he needs 2 field goals to tie the national record of 79 field goals for a career by John Lee of UCLA. Don James, of course, would like to use him only on extra points, but it's 2nd down and 10 for the Huskies now on their own 37. No score. Toss sweep to the right side. Vince Weathersby's got an opening and very close to a 1st down as he needed to get to the 47-yard line. Ron Collins, the senior out of Kashmir, making the stop on VW.
Ricky Reynolds also was in on that tackle. V-Dub, this is what Washington does best. That toss sweep, get it outside, let Vinny find a seam and then turn it up. And there you see Ricky Reynolds coming back off the corner, sliding back in and knocking Vince's legs out from underneath him.
Weathersby coming in here averaging 5.2 yards per carry. He has 19 on 3 carries so far today. 1st and 10 from the 49 of the Huskies. Wide receivers to both sides. Draw to Tony Covington. Finds a couple of blockers, still keeps his speed and gets well into Cougar territory down near the 42-yard line. Now that was good running, but a lot of good muscle on the part of that big Husky line.
It was. Watch the hole that he has to run through, but watch the strength at which Tony Covington runs the football with. He breaks tackles. Last year against Washington State, he was stopped at the goal line on a 2-point conversion. He was hit at the 3 and then drove 4 people into the end zone for the conversion. So he has great leg strength after he's hit.
And only a sophomore out of Portland, and has done a good job sitting in for Rick Finney. It's TC again. Covington trying to get down near the 40. He needed to get to the 40 for the 1st down on 2nd and 2 as Maury Metcalf, the sophomore out of Sacramento, number 40, makes the stop. And it looks like they'll measure. Mo Hill says, we don't need to.
Mo wants to be an official when he grows up.
That's right.
So he's just working on the signals.
I think you better just stick with the pads and the helmets. He can do real well there in the NFL. Be the number 3 all-time receiver here at Washington. His dad, number 3 at Arizona State. Kind of runs in the family.
Definitely does. You know, it's funny watching Ricky Reynolds because his assignment is to watch Mo Hill all day. Well, Mo Hill went off to the sideline to get his shoulder pads fixed. Brian Slater came out, and Ricky Reynolds didn't know which side to line up on.
Thought he might follow him all the way over and help him with his shoulder pads. The 1st down is made. 5:17 remaining for Jim Walden in the 1st quarter. The final is Michigan defeated Ohio State, so Michigan and Bo Schembechler will be heading off to Pasadena for the holidays to take on Arizona State. Oh, what a game. Of course, we all remember the Cougars tied Arizona State down in the Valley of the Sun. 1st and 10 on the Cougar 40-yard line for The Washington Huskies down to Vince Weathersby, down to the 31-yard line, and close to another first down for Washington as they have put together their best drive of the day.
Washington throwing the ball downfield early to Mo Hill to kind of stretch that defense, and now they are starting to pick against Washington State, just throwing underneath and taking what the defense is giving them. Chris Chandler's doing a good job of looking the linebackers off and then hitting the backs coming out of the backfield.
Jeff Loomis in there playing now for Washington State. Was in on the stop. Second down and 1 on the 31. Toss sweep again. Vince Weathersby cuts inside, has the first down and much more as he's inside the 25-yard line to the 24 as Kevin Thomason, the senior out of Sacramento, knocks him out of bounds.
Erwin Chappell coming up out of nowhere. There you saw Ed Blunt's ankle. It's heavily taped. That's his bad ankle. But Erwin Chappell came up from the left corner position, tried to make the tackle, and then just ended up with air.
Rick Finney was in on the field for a moment and comes back off. Now it is 1st and 10 on the Cougar 22. First sustained drive by either team. Rod Jones lines up, tight end left side. Wide receivers wide to the left is Franklin. They give to Vince Weathersby, keeping it on the ground still. Not much there as Vince gets down to the 20-yard line. And the Cougars swarm all over him to make the stop. Loomis in there, number 49. Kevin Gogan getting up. Tim Rosenbaum from Pullman. He started last week against Oregon. Maybe there's something wrong with Ed Blunt. He may still have the bad ankle or the sickness or whatever. Tim is warming up.
I think Tim might be just warming up, though, to keep warm.
Yeah, we'll see. I may call your bluff on that one. Second down and 8 for the Huskies. 7-2 in record. 7-2-1 record coming in. Taking the draw, looking across the middle. Bill Franklin, no! As Erwin Chappell was defending along with Kevin Thomason. A little bit behind him, Sam.
It was just a little bit behind. Almost a great catch, though, by Darrell. Kevin Thomason was just a little bit slow reacting. He saw that post coming, but Chris did a nice job. One thing that you can tell about Chris gaining so much experience is he looks the defense off. The free safety looks at the quarterback, looks where he's looking, and then they go in that direction. Well, that time Chris was looking to the right, and then the last minute turned back to the left to pick up Darrell on the post pattern, and that's why Kevin was late reacting to it.
Big play. 3rd down and 8. Rod Jones again shifts to the left side. Franklin wide to the left, Hill to the right. Again, he'll throw. Looks deep across the middle. He's got Mo Hill down at the 5, and now it's a foot race. Now Ricky Reynolds brings him down on the 5-yard line, but it's another first down for the Washington Huskies.
They almost broke the record there. He had a step, but Ricky Reynolds tied up his ankles. Chris Chandler, this play is attributed to the offensive line. Look at that great protection that they give Chris Chandler. He just stands in there confident, finds Mo Hill on the square end, and then Ricky Reynolds just ties up Mo's legs and not allow him to run into the end zone for a score.
Chandler now 4 for 7 in passing, 35 yards for the day. Ooh, took a pretty good hit by Rob Cleveland. So now it's 1st and goal from the 5-yard line for the Huskies. The full house tee. Rick Penny in there. Has the ball? No, they fake it. They give it to, it was either Aaron Jenkins or Tony Covington. 29 or 39. Looks like it was TC. Covington, number 39, as Ron Collins makes the stop along with Ricky Reynolds of the Cougars. Covington getting down near the 3-yard line.
Washington had a lot of success in short yardage situations with this full house tee.
Oh, it's been tough for defenders all year, and last year it was effective. Finney again in on this play on 2nd and goal from the 3. The full house. Jenkins, Finney, Covington in the backfield. Chandler still with it, wants to throw, and he does. To Rod Jones, touchdown Washington. The all-time leading tight end receiver for the Huskies comes up with yet another touchdown. And for Rod, that is TD number 5 in 1986. And that's all been this year.
Watch the defense just really collapse on that inside fake, and then Chandler comes out. Ron Collins went inside on that fullback fake to Finney, and Rod Jones just simply ran right by him.
It's amazing when I say that's all this year, meaning he had no career touchdown catches until this year, and he has gotten 5 of them now. Jeff Jager back to kick, the senior, out of the Kent area. It is up, almost blocked as a matter of fact, but it is good. So with 2:59 remaining in the first quarter, Washington the first to break the ice. We'll be back to Martin Stadium after this. You live in Colville, Cle-Elum, Kelso, or anywhere in Washington, PEMCO can save you money. Let PEMCO tackle all your personal insurance needs. Auto, home, and boat. Discover our fast, friendly service. Then you'll know why more than 300,000 Washington residents insure with PEMCO. And you can report a claim day or night, 7 days a week. The clock never runs out at PEMCO. Put PEMCO in your court. Call for a free rate quotation now.
Don't be caught fresh out. Stock up on Mountain Fresh Rainier now.
A 3-yard pass from Chandler to Rod Jones is the difference so far as Washington is leading now 7-0. Here it is again, Sam.
You see Rick Finney draw that defense inside, and you see how wide open Rod Jones is.
78-yard drive for the Washington Huskies. Scoreboard wrong earlier. It is Washington 7-0. 2:59 remaining. Here's the kick, and Michael James back to receive on the goal line. Up to the 10. And a lot of Huskies waiting for him right there on the 12. And again, the Cougars are back deep in their own territory as Keelan Matthews makes the stop, the sophomore out of yet another one from Sacramento for the Washington Huskies. 78-yard drive. Eating up 5 minutes and 22 seconds, and that's exactly what Don James wants, is to keep Jim Walden's offense off the field. 13-yard return by James. So 1st and 10 on their own 13-yard line. Ed Blunt still at quarterback as Michael James out of Tacoma goes in motion. They look to Porter. And had the Huskies not stayed home on that play, he would have gone a long ways, Sam.
Reggie Rogers maintaining. See, the one thing that the Washington defense wants to do is stay outside and maintain his leverage. There you see the scoring drive, 14 plays, 7 passes, 7 runs, 78 yards, 5 minutes and 22 seconds.
That is ball possession. 2nd down and 7 now after the 3-yard gain on the dive by Porter. Ball on the 16. We saw Tim Rosenbach warm up earlier, but it's Ed Blunt at quarterback, the senior out of Pasadena. Kittrick Taylor goes in motion from a backfield position. He looks for Taylor, got him at the 20, up to the 25, and Tim Peoples gets him there along with Tommy Erlitzen at about the 27-yard line.
Washington State flooding that area with 3 receivers, and Ed Blunt just simply going to whoever is open. They have 2 defenders on that side, and the tight end Rod Olson ran a seam to take the secondary with him, and then Ed just simply threw it to Kittrick Taylor.
Blunt now 3 for 3, 33 yards. 1st and 10 on the 28 after the play to Kittrick Taylor. James goes in motion. Blunt looking to throw again, looks across the middle, has got his tight end Rod Olson wide open to 50-yard line as DeMoy Williams delivers quite a blow, but not until after the big play. Blunt to Olson to midfield.
And Victor Wood was streaking down the sideline. He got Tim Peoples' attention, which moved Tim Peoples out of the middle of the field so that Rod Olson was wide open. There you see David Rill giving chase to the tight end, and DeMoy Williams coming over and throwing a great shot, a 22-yard completion.
Brian Habib coming off the field, so he was out there on the last play. Looks like he'll be all right. 1st and 10 right at midfield. Rick Chase, another receiver, going wide to the right. The draw to Kerry Porter gets maybe 4 yards as the Huskies stop him there. Erlinson in there along with Steve Roberts and the rest of the people up front. 1:13 remaining in the 1st quarter. Washington leading 7-0 in the 79th Apple Cup. Apple Cup 86. The heaters are running. The Huskies, they're not dumb. They're going to keep those babies pumped up all afternoon. Brian Slater's not dumb either. He knows where to stand if he's not playing.
Wide receivers, Larry Jackson, Brian Slater.
2nd down and 6. Blunt still with it. Pitches. Big lane for Porter. 1st down, Washington State. As they get inside the 40-yard line. David Rill, the inside linebacker, making the stop. #1 tackler for the Huskies in 1986.
Again, a tremendous running seam as soon as Kerry Porter gets that football. Look, there is not anyone around, and he just simply turns it up the field.
Jim Sweeney used to say, get perpendicular when you get out there and you got a lane. Porter, 9 carries, 34 yards. He had 116 yards last week after getting only 39 yards in the first half against Oregon. 1st and 10 now on the Husky 38. Rolling out to the left side, looking for help, has Rod Olson, but the throw behind him. He was open down at the 25-yard line, Sam.
But Tom Erlandson took away the throwing lane, and that's why Ed's pass was errant. Because, again, as I said earlier, it's tough throwing that ball when you're sprinting to your left and you got a great big guy chasing you with bad breath by the name of Reggie Rogers. All of a sudden, he turns back in, and he's trying to hit him, and Erlandson covered Rod Olson just as Ed threw it.
So it's 2nd down and 10 from the Husky 38-yard line. Only 23 seconds remaining, and then the Cougars will have the wind at their backs. Gittrick Taylor wide to the right. Double tight end formation. And they lay it off to Olson. That is working for them down inside the 30. Very close to another Cougar first down.
And Olson is slow getting up.
Tony Zachary in on the stop. Olson took quite a shot. That's his second, because Demoy Williams put a real hurt on him earlier after that completion up to midfield.
And tight end has been a position that they've been weak at all year. They've had some real tough times. Let's go down the sideline to Keith Shipman.
Updated injury report down here. Darrell Franklin, Husky wide receiver, sprained a joint in his right hand when he reached back to try to catch that pass that was thrown behind him in the end zone. He's going to have a sore right hand the rest of the day. He'll be icing it. Can barely move it right now. And also Will Rideout has a little stinger in his neck. That's going away, but that is something to look for when you think of special teams for Washington.
Can you imagine icing your hand right now?
Sit in front of that hot blower down there and then put ice in your home. Yeah, that would be painful. Let's take a look and see how Olson got hurt.
See the shot right there. Tony Zachary coming in. Almost looks like it's in the area where it might be a hip pointer. Right on the hip. Watch number 25 come in and just deliver a blow to the back.
That's a kidney shot. There's no padding back there, unless you've got flak jacket on, possibly.
Or Herschel Walker's shoulder pads.
Setting it up for you, only 7 seconds remaining in the first quarter. It is 3rd down and 1 from the Husky 28-yard line. After Washington scored their touchdown, Washington State coming right back after starting back deep in their own territory, and that'll do it for the first quarter. So we will take a timeout of our own. 1 touchdown in the first quarter here in the Palouse. Washington leading by the score of 7-0. This is the Kelly Sports Network.
These days, a lot of airlines are cutting corners on their meals.
This little beauty we like to call banquet on a bun, right, Bob?
Banquet on a bun.
I like it. Sit down, Bob. Now with this, you can serve a whole plain loaf for just pennies.
I like it.
Elastic parsley. You can use it over and over again.
I like it.
Pygmy chickens. You can get 125 in ordinary shoebox.
I like it.
At Alaska Airlines, we spend a little more on our meals, and you can taste the difference.
Get up, get up, get on your way. It's a great Bond Super Sale day.
The Bond Super Sale. What a great way to spend the day. Our Super Sale brings your family the finest values, the best prices, and the most choices in fashion apparel and home furnishings. All at store-wide savings from 20 to 60%. The Super Sale. It's on right now at the Bond, where the choices are.
Get up, get up, get on your way.
The Bond now accepts MasterCard and Visa.
Apple Cup 86 is brought to you in part by GTE and by Alaska Airlines.
Just clearing up some paperwork. It is indeed Washington 7-0 on their score. This drive by Washington State, though, after that touchdown by the Huskies, started back on their own 13-yard line, and now it is 3rd down and 1 on the Husky 28. Bircher wide to the right. Here comes Rick Chase in motion. 2 tight ends. They got the draw to Kerry Porter. He's got the first down as he is to the 25-yard line. Tommy Erlandson wrapping up the legs along with David Rill, the 2 inside linebackers. So it's first down for the Cougars, and they're putting together a sustained drive.
Watch the draw play. Kerry Porter just lowers his head. David Rill fills that hole. Both the inside linebackers, they do such a good job of scraping and running to the football, and that's why there's the number 1, number 2 leading tacklers on this team.
That's the first third down conversion by the Cougars today. Again, 2 tight ends, 1 setback, wide receivers to the right. Cotton Sears comes in motion. Blunt wants to throw. Looks across, flag down as he throws complete. No, knocked loose by Tony Zachary as he was looking for Michael James out of Tacoma, but let's see what the flag's all about. David Rill says it's a hold.
A little holding right there. There you see Ed Blunt. Looked like Steve Alvord was the one who was being held. Michael James coming up, but his hands just crossed. When he went up in the air, he got hit just before the ball got there, and he was not able to hang on. But it was would have been all for naught anyway.
Yeah, all for naught.
Holding, offense, still first down.
First down and 20, as a matter of fact. The ball back on the 35-yard line. It might have been Steve Roberts. It was 94 in there. Well, nevertheless, let's move on. We're in the second quarter. 7-0 Washington, scoring on their second series. Cougars with 1 timeout remaining in the first half after taking 2 quick ones early in the first stanza. Blunt wants to throw. First and 20. He's got Chase wide open down to the 20, inside the 20 to about the 18-yard line, short of the first down. They need to get to the 15. Rick Chase, one of the best receivers for the Cougars when it comes to over-the-middle passes.
And a definite senior leader, and it's going to be a tremendous loss. There you see he's just running a simple turn in, and you saw Bo Yates continue to run out with Kit Taylor in motion, which created that huge hole for Ed Blunt to get the ball in the hole.
Rick Chase playing in his final game for the Cougars. Looks like he might have banged up the arm a little bit. Real tough receiver, not afraid to go over the middle and catch the tough one. 2nd and 4. Quick pass, Rod Olson. First down, Washington State, as he is inside the 10-yard line. What a day he is having. I believe that's his 6th reception today as Tim Peoples makes the stop. Reception number 5 for the tight end. Tony Zachary in there.
He comes out uncovered, and David Rill just can't get over there and forces Tim Peoples to make that play. But what happens is, because Steve Roberts is over the tight end and he is their rush end, there is nobody jamming him off of that line of scrimmage, so he has a free release. And Ed Blunt is just taking 1 step back and popping the ball to the tight end.
Rod Olson, 5 receptions, 65 yards. It is first and goal from the 7. Blunt with a misdirection gives right back to Kerry Porter, but the Huskies stay home, and we've got a flag down right on the line of scrimmage.
We might have a little bit of motion just before the snap. Might have been the right side of the offensive line.
Tommy Erlinson saying it's on Washington State, so does the referee. So he complies with Mr. Erlinson's decision. Let's see how far they walk it up.
This is the one thing the Washington State coaches were scared to death of, was them beating themselves. They said, we have to play error-free football. And several times today they have stopped themselves or had to overcome penalties that have set them back.
As a matter of fact, 4 penalties on Washington State.
Motion offense, still first down.
4 penalties, 35 yards, but Rod Olson is having some kind of a game. Averaging 13 yards, no touchdowns yet anyway. He's a redshirt freshman out of Walnut Creek, California, 6'3", 220-pounder. There's the score for penalties. It is first and goal from the 12. Kitrick Taylor goes in motion. Needs 1 more touchdown to tie Hugh Campbell's record for single season. Ball knocked away that time by Tommy Erlinson. That is pass deflection number 12 for the 86 season. In good position. It's one you'd like to see him catch, though, in the end zone and put it out on the 20.
It went through so many hands, though, that it's really tough. There you see David Rill get a hand on it, knock it away. Tommy Erlinson. Then it goes past Rod Olson and past Tim Peoples. So it really went through. Kitrick Taylor, interesting thing to note, Kitrick Taylor went in motion, and then he was signaling to the coaches. Bo Yates picked him up. He says, I'm one-on-one with the linebacker. So let's see what happens if he comes in motion.
It's like discovering a man-to-man defense in basketball. Send somebody through and see who follows you. The shift defensively by the Huskies. Blunt has the pitch. Keeps inside the 5-yard line, down near the 3-yard line for the Cougars on the 3rd down play. So it's 3rd and goal from the 3. They cannot get a first down. DeMoy Williams on the stop with Erlinson.
Watch it at the last minute. Think about pitching it. You see the seam that he tries to take. Excellent job by DeMoy Williams maintaining his leverage and not allowing Ed to pitch that ball. Because if he's able to pitch it to number 11, Ed Tingstad, who's trailing, then it's 6 points for Washington State.
third down and goal. Taylor in motion. The pitch. Kingstad, touchdown, Washington State. Kingstad's first touchdown as a Washington State Cougar comes against the team that he has followed when he was a youngster living in Spanaway, going to Bethel High School.
Watch Ed just simply outrun DeMoy Williams again. DeMoy got sucked in that time, didn't maintain the leverage, and that time Ed Kingstad was able to just get inside that last cone
And
for the touchdown.
Sam, an 87-yard drive, though, very impressive.
More than that if you include the penalties that they had to overcome.
Kevin Adams with the extra point. It is up and good, and we're tied here in the Palouse in Apple Cup 86. 12 minutes, 14 seconds remaining before intermission. Kevin Adams ties it up with a PAT. We're tied at 7.
Oh, baby, it's cold outside. Baby, it's cold outside.
When summer turns to fall, turn to Union Bay Sportswear.
Because, baby, it's cold outside.
Husky fans, whether you live in Westport, Wenatchee, Walla Walla, or anywhere in Washington, Pemco can save you money. Let Pemco tackle all your personal insurance needs, auto, home, and boat. Discover our fast, friendly service. Then you'll know why over 300,000 Washington residents insure with Pemco. And you can report a claim day or night, 7 days a week. The clock never runs out at Pemco. Put Pemco in your court. Call for a free rate quotation now. Ed Kingstad, normally a blocking back and maybe a decoy on the part of Washington State's offense, coming up with his first touchdown as a Washington State Cougar. His longest run so far has been 24 yards this year, but he comes through and does the job. Nick Obrastoff will kick off as Andre Riley will be back to receive along with, looks like Daryl Franklin is back there, and he will wait to receive it, injured hand and all, and they'll walk it out to the 20-yard line. There's your drive. Another good long drive, 5 minutes, 45 seconds. Washington's was 5:22. So 2 very long, well-executed drives by both teams. Keith Shipman has someone down on the sideline.
He's popular with University of Washington fans. If you're thinking about his little brother, this is Scott Pelora, his little brother now with the Dallas Cowboys. And you most recently have been with the New Orleans Saints. An old Coug back to watch a game.
Right, this is my first game that I've seen since I played here, so it's quite a thrill.
You obviously from the Seattle area, having a brother who played here, have some mixed emotions.
Not really. If you go to this school, you're a Cougar, and it's just a great feeling. It's nice to see the stands filled. Walden, I think, is one of the best things that ever happened to Washington State, and I'm disappointed that he hasn't had the kind of support that they need here. I mean, it's a fun game, fun team to watch. It's very enjoyable.
Well, Scott, it's nice to have you back in Pullman. Thanks for visiting with us today, and best of luck to you.
Thanks, Keith. Appreciate it.
Scott Pelora with us here on the Kelly Sports Network.
5 yards on the pass to Daryl Franklin. Franklin still playing with that bad hand. 2nd down and 5 from the 25. High formation for the Huskies. We're tied at 7. Vince Weathersby on the pitch to the right side. Fighting for the first down. Has it. Flag down back on the line of scrimmage. So let's see where they're going to place the ball after the run by Vince, which gets the ball up near the 38-yard line. Rob Cleveland in on the stop along with Ron Collins, who is the second leading tackler, but we got a hold on the Dogs, so they'll back it up.
Look at Jim Walden over there pleading. He's upset about something.
Jim, you got 10 yards on him already. Wants 15.
You know that run by Vince Weathersby is indicative of the way that he's run all year long. And one amazing stat that Washington keeps is yards.
Still 2nd down.
Yards after contact. And that's where Vince has made his biggest improvement. That time he got hit at the line of scrimmage, broke through that arm tackle, and then went down the sideline.
Keeps the feet underneath him and keeps them pedaling.
He and Tony Covington both.
2nd and long. 15 yards for the first down. 12 minutes remaining before halftime, and we're tied at 7 apiece. Franklin wide to the left, Mohill to the right side. Chandler, a lot of time, goes to the tight end. Rod Jones up near the 25-yard line, short of the first down. Gain of about 10 as they need to get to the 30 for the conversion. Kevin Thomason hit on the stop.
This is a real good call on second and long because you don't have to get it all back in one play. They just go intermediate, and now they're in 3rd and 5 situation. They have a lot better chance to be able to make a first down.
Huskies challenging a dangerous man in Kevin Thomason. He leads the Cougars in interceptions with 5. 3rd down and 6. They must get to the 30. I formation. Franklin again wide to the right. Mo Hill to the left. Looking deep. Scott Franklin with the pass too long. Obviously an audible. I was looking down at the 25-second clock, and it had expired.
Chris Chandler was audibling because he saw he had man coverage because he looked out at Sean Landrum. Sean Landrum had his right foot forward, which means he's in man coverage. He's playing inside out, so that means he's one-on-one. Kevin Thomason can't help. When they're trying to take away that inside, that's why Chris went to it.
So if Landrum has his right foot forward and is going to check the outside, why doesn't the coach say, don't do that?
That's right.
That's a dead giveaway. Kittrick Taylor, ranked in the top 20 along with Andre Riley in punt returning this year, has always been a dangerous man. Punt into the wind. Taylor takes it on his 40. Finds a seam, but David Rill is in there for the tackle at about the 47-yard line of Washington State. 10:55 remaining before halftime. We're tied at 7-7 in the 79th Apple Cup between the Huskies and the Cougars.
This bud's for all that you do.
It could be any time now.
No, Bill had to leave. Can I help you?
A friend is counting on
Need copies by 4:30. I'll cover it for him. Not a word.
you. You keep on coming through, 'cause you make America work, and this bud's for you.
Here's to you, Beechwood Age, for that clean, crisp taste that says Budweiser.
This bud's for you.
Charlie, Mike.
Doing business over the years,
Here to Seattle? Great, when?
Charlie and Mike became good friends.
Let's say we meet at the airport.
Yet they've never met, except over the phone.
How am I going to recognize you? 5'8", about 100.
The one business tool that will never go out of date.
5'8". I figured you for 6'3", 6'4". No, I just talk big.
Pacific Northwest Bell. We've always been the future.
Jeff Woodruff on the right, receiver coach talking to his quarterback, Chris Chandler, and you can see we're tied at 7. A 35-yard punt by Thane Cleland and a 6-yard return for Kittrick Taylor. So the Cougars start over now from their own 47-yard line. 1st and 10, 10:55 remaining in the quarter. Quarter number 2. Ed Blunt getting flushed out of the pocket, roll out to the left side, looks for a man, got him as Bo Yates is defending against Michael James. 1st and 10 down on the 25 of the Huskies. Blunt's having a great day.
The Cougars coming with what they call their dash pass. They have the quarterback drop back in the pocket and then spin out on a sprint out pass. Watch Ed set up like a drop back, then roll out. Reggie Rogers is giving chase. He throws this ball. Bo Yates is right with him, but Bo is not looking back at the quarterback. Michael James is, and that's why he was able to make that catch. But the thing that Washington State is doing is they're isolating wide receivers on a linebacker.
There's the draw to Kerry Porter on 1st and 10. Huskies stay home as Darrell Hall is there along with Steve Alvord and Dennis Brown.
You know, one thing, Don, you look where this drive started, it was on the minus 47-yard line. The momentum has changed a little bit. Their last touchdown drive, they were buried deep at the 13-yard line, and the Huskies were the ones having the good field position. Now the thing has changed, and the Cougars are ending up with a good field position.
Well, that says something about the wind, too, though.
That's exactly right.
In the face of the Huskies and Don James right now. Art Malone standing next to him, who's injured. Porter goes in motion. Nobody in the backfield. Looks like he's going to throw, and here comes Bo Yates on the sack along with Darrell Hall. And boy, what a great time to send your weak side linebacker. First sack of the day as Bo Yates gets him at his 4th sack of the year.
Watch, there is nobody in the backfield to pick him up. Normally what you do is you have an outside or your uncovered lineman come outside, pick up that weak linebacker, but they brought the strong safety number 40 right there, Darrell Hall, as well as Bo Yates. So they came from both sides, both those guys coming from the outside and an outside blitz, which is a great call by Jim Lambright and the defensive staff.
Great year for sacks for the Huskies. A number of people with 7 sacks. Reggie Rogers, one of them, who was involved on the particular sack by Bo Yates. So now it is 3rd down and 19. Blunt looking to the right, got Huskies all over there. I think he was looking for Rick Chase and then dumping it out of bounds. Bud Namick down on the Cougar sideline.
The Cougars have here on the extra point on the touchdown. Mike Utley came limping off. He was banged on the knee again. He has bruised that knee 4 times. It's kind of weak. It'll be something to watch as the afternoon progresses, and it's starting to rain now. We'll see if that has an effect on the ball handling.
We'd also like to pass along our best to Mike Utley's family. His grandfather passed away. His father comes over from the Seattle area for every Cougar home game. He's unable to be here because he has to be in Iowa for the funeral. So we pass along our very best to the Utley family.
And our condolences. 4th down and 19. Adams goes for the 50-yard field goal. It is good. A 50-yard field goal by Kevin Adams, his longest before, 37 yards. And he is now 6 for 9. And a tremendous momentum builder as Kevin Adams comes in for the long boot. Former kicker for Cascade High School and doing the job. Adams, a redshirt freshman, right on the 40-yard line, 50 yards.
And that's the advantage of the wind right there, because in warm-ups for the game, the Cougars were on that end of the field. Nico Brastoff, Kevin Adams were kicking the ball 60 yards. They were kicking 60-yard field goals because that wind is so strong at their back.
Normally, Nico Brastoff has done a lot of the 40 yards and beyond field goal kicking, with Adams doing the shorter kicks and the PATs, but Adams getting the call.
Well, I think Nick has had some problems with his leg this year, as has Jeff Jager. And so I think that's why Kevin Adams has taken over that duty.
You see the alignment on the right of your screen by the Husky defense. The Cougars on their kickoff team sometimes will just bunch up and kick the ball, and the whole student body chases after the loose squib kick. But as you see, we're going to go conventional here. Nico Brastoff will kick off. And with the wind into the end zone, Franklin will bring it out. Here he comes to the 10, to the 20, and that's where he's wrestled down by Artie Holmes, number 19, waiting for him right there at the 20. So Washington State on a 50-yard field goal on a drive that started back on their own 47. Good field position. Now with the lead at 10-7. 8:54 remaining here in the second quarter of Apple Cup 1986. First and 10 for Washington on their own 20. Darrell Franklin again with a bad hand, goes wide to the right. Chris Chandler at quarterback. Redshirt junior, he'll be back next year for the Huskies. Formation. Here comes Franklin in motion. They give to Vince Weathersby on the quick delay, and Weathersby, good yardage, first down beyond the 30 to the 34-yard line, and some great blocking on the part of the Huskies, as well as the run by VW.
That's exactly right, that great blocking. Talking to Dan DeRazio before the ball game, I asked him how many different starting offensive lines has he had all year. He's had 8 different starting offensive lines because of injuries. They have to move personnel around. For 2 weeks now in a row, they've had the same personnel, and they're finally getting some continuity in that offensive line, and it's evident right there as a part of that run.
First down and 10 from the 34-yard line. Again, Rod Jones, the tight end, to the left side. Franklin wide to the left, Bo Hill wide to the right. Sweep. Vince Weathersby, another seam. Here he goes. He's up the midfield and still wrestling his way against Kevin Thomas and Sean Landrum and company, and gets into Cougar territory at the 45. What a run by Vince Weathersby.
Boy, taking advantage of that seam. And what they're doing that time, I believe they went weak side with it. And they're trying to take advantage of the small outside linebacker, Bob Gregory, who is only 175 pounds. Normally, Washington does not run weak side, but because when they give it to you, take advantage of it.
Oh, absolutely. When you've got somebody that's 170 pounds going against a running back that even weighs more than you. Good day so far for Vince. First and 10 on the Cougar 45-yard line. There's the draw, this time to Covington. He gets good yardage inside the 40 to the 38-yard line. Maury Metcalf coming over for the stop for the Cougars. the number 9 leading tackler for Washington State.
Rick McLeod's in now for Clay Griffith, and Rick that time set, showing pass, and then shot upfield and had a great lead block on the linebacker.
Rick McLeod having to wear the, we call it the windshield, which is mounted in his face mask because of that eye injury against Stanford. Jeff Jaeger warming up. Needs 2 field goals to tie John Lee out of UCLA for the career mark for 79. Second down and 3 for Washington State. Both Bo Hill and Franklin wide to the right. Again, the student body toss sweep to Vince Weathersby. Fights his way, but not much there. Brian Ford and company laying some real hurt on Vince Weathersby that time.
Boy, gang tackling. Trying to run that toss sweep into the short side of the field. Brian Ford, Maury Metcalf turning the play back in. Great job by them. There's Maury Metcalf coming on the outside, and Sean Landrum. And then watch Brian Ford just hit him and just make sure that he does not go anywhere.
66 yards now for Vince Weathersby, and they look at 3rd down and 2 after this play by Metcalf, Landrum, Ford, and company. Ford coming into the 40. 3rd down and 2. Sweep, strong side. Here comes Weathersby. 1st down for the Huskies. He's down to the 30-yard line. 87, Marvin Adams making the stop, the junior out of Modesto, California. But Vince Weathersby beginning to chalk up the yardage on those toss sweeps to the left and the right.
Rod Jones came out of the huddle, that time lining up on the left and then shifting over to the right, hoping to get his block on Bob Gregory. Washington State anticipating his shift. They just left Maury Metcalf, the bigger of the 2 outside linebackers, over there, and he consequently ended up being lined up over Rod Jones.
Washington predominantly on the ground today. He's got both wide receivers wide to the left, Hill and Franklin, on 1st and 10 from the Cougar 30-yard line. Again, the toss sweep. This time Andre Riley, a little quicker pace, a little faster runner than Vince, and he gets down to near the 25-yard line. Brian Ford making the stop, number 57. He's the junior out of Montreal.
The way this 4-3 defense is designed that Washington State plays, it's played for the defensive lineman to take out the interference and let the middle linebacker make the play. And that's why Brian Ford has twice as many tackles as anybody else on the team.
We should also point out that Rick Penny was in the backfield on that last play. It is 2nd down and 6. Covington back in at fullback. Wide receivers to the left side. Across the middle, Rod Jones wide open to the 10, down to the 5, inside the 5 to the 2-yard line for the Huskies. Loaded up on the left side and then throw to your tight end who comes through the middle from the right.
That's exactly right. They watched Washington State have such success with it. They said, well, let's try that ourselves. We'll go ahead and run that same play. See, the Husky coach is paying attention what's going on out there. Rod Jones coming off untouched right through that seam.
Sean Landrum making the stop. Darrell Franklin, by the way, limping off the field somewhat. He's having a tough day. Already strained some muscles in his hand. Rod Jones with a big catch. Tony Covington tries to leap, but he couldn't. And they call it a touchdown. Second ever did it, Sam. You're right.
He backed into the end zone. He started to go up over the pile, but everybody was standing up. He'd have to be like Superman to be able to get over that pile. So he just kind of turned and backed his way into the end zone. The officials started to mark the ball, and then they threw their hands up late. Watch him as he gets hit right here and then turns his back and just back right into the end zone. That's great second effort on Tony Covington's part.
Went right behind Rick Penny. What a team when you got those two in there along with Aaron Jenkins. That's a hefty bit of beef back there. Jeff Jaeger on the extra point. Still no field goals from him today. The PAT, though, is good. And Washington takes the lead with 5:06 remaining in the second quarter. Washington 14, Washington State 10.
With all the services you get for just $4.95 a month, it's no wonder the other banks don't want you to know about Bank Club. Puget Sound Bank, the hometown bank. preceding performance has been brought to you by Porsche.
See the new 928 S4 at your authorized Porsche dealer.
There's your score. 2 touchdowns for Washington. One in the first quarter, a pass to Rod Jones, and then Tony Covington on 1st and goal from the 2 to make it 14-10. A 50-yard field goal earlier by Kevin Adams for Washington State with a win. And that came up along with their touchdown to make it 14-10. 5:06 remaining here in the second quarter. We're coming to you almost live from Martin Stadium. Low, kind of a squib kick by the Huskies. Michael James having a tough time, finally gets the handle, and by then the pursuit is there for the Huskies down on the 15-yard line. So some skullduggery somewhat by the Huskies, as they might have almost come up with a loose ball. Here's the drive by the Huskies. 3 minutes and 54 seconds. Again, going 80 yards, starting back on their own 20, and in 8 plays. Covington comes up on the 8 and the 2-yard plunge for the touchdown.
And they only threw 1 pass in that drive, that being the one to tight end Rod Jones. There were 7 runs and 1 pass.
So for the Cougars, they've got 5 minutes to work with. The wind at their backs. 1st and 10 on their own 16-yard line. Ed Blunt out of Pasadena, his last Apple Cup. Terry Porter, his last Apple Cup as well, as he gets maybe 2 or 3 up near the 20-yard line. Let's go down to Keith Shipman.
A couple of injury updates for you on the Husky sideline. Darrell Franklin's going to play hurt. Just a little bit of a tender ankle, but he's able to warm that thing up with those heaters, and he's going to be just fine. Also, take a look at Mike Sandowski. He strained his shoulder a little earlier. He's going to be playing a little bit with a tender shoulder as well on the interior of the offensive line. It's starting to rain down here. We have few hairs on top of the head. Know about that very quickly.
I wouldn't know, Keith. 2nd down and 7 now for the Cougars on their own 19. Gary Porter flagged down as Porter carries over the left guard position. Flags one up right on the line of scrimmage.
Steve Alvord signaling it's against Washington State.
There'll be some motion up in the line. Here's the call. So Jim Walden will. They'll back it up another 5. Jim Walden and Don James. Guess we had fun with them last night in that broadcast down at Pelican Pete's. First time ever. Both coaches, night before an Apple Cup on live TV, in the same room. In fact, Don and Jim and their wives actually sat at the same table before they went on. I think people were amazed that they were that friendly with each other. Actually, they're very good friends. But not today. 3rd down and 4 from the 22. Kittrick Taylor in motion. The Cougars trail 14-10. The pitch to Porter. Trying to find that seam. Not really there, but he wanted to get to the 26 for that 1st down. It'll be close. Let's see where the referee puts his left foot.
He's going to mark it a half yard short.
He is about 8 inches. So it's 4th down. No measurement. And good pursuit on the part of the Huskies. Bo Yates and company, along with Darrell Hall, coming up on that key. 3rd and short. So it's 4th down. And Myers will be back to punt. Light's beginning to take effect on the field now, too. Bob Myers on a 39-yarder last time out. Now he's with the win. From his own 15, spiral, low kick, good return kick. Let's see what he does. Andre Riley from his own 30 looking for that picket fence, has a seam up to the 40, now trying to get outside, still on his feet, but loses a yard, and we've got a penalty down right on the 39-yard line where Andre Riley was. You got to wonder if it's probably a hold, possibly, or a clip on Washington in that kind of area. When you've got a return zigzagging like that.
That's exactly right. When he comes that far across the field, it's there you see the signal, the
flag
clip.
for an illegal block against Washington.
That field that far, it makes it very tough for the teams, to not block a guy in the back.
So now Alapate in on the stop.
45 yards, a 9-yard return by Riley.
45-yard punt. So we'll take a timeout here before we resume play. 3 minutes remaining in the first half. 14-10, Ed Blunt, and the Cougars trail by 4.
We
were there for breakfast in North Bend. We're on showroom floors from Colfax to Seattle. We help more people in more ways than any other bank in the state. And every day, we help each one of them, not as one in millions, but as the only one that matters.
Welcome back to Apple Cup. 2nd and 6 as Chris Chandler throws to Mo Hill. Looks like he fumbled the ball, but another Husky was right behind him. It is Husky ball and a first down for Washington on an earlier play. And they got to separate Ron Collins and a few other Huskies now. On 1st and 10, it was Vince Weathersby going for 4 yards. And we have a Husky injured.
Mo Hill, who has stayed down. Kevin Gogan went over. Ron Collins was going after that loose ball. Kevin Gogan went over and just kind of picked him up one-handed and threw him off of the pile.
Let's
I
clear
guess
up the,
when you're 6'7", 300 pounds, you can do that.
Let's clear up the paperwork, though, right now. Vince Weathersby going 4 yards on the play that we missed, and then as we came back, the completion to Mo Hill for a first down. Here's the play again now to Mo.
There you see the play-action pass, which brought Brian Ford into the line of scrimmage, and then they just completed the square-in route right behind him. Mo Hill coming in. Let's see if we can see where he gets hurt. You see him try to keep his balance. That's what he does so well, is put that left hand down and get that extra yard. There you see the football come out right there.
Could be either an elbow to the head or it might have been his left shoulder coming down.
And that was Kevin Gogan. Let's see if we can see. Watch the elbow that goes to the head right here of Mo Hill.
It's right when he goes down. That's where he fumbled. And no, Thomason didn't get him.
Just missed.
I think it might have been his left shoulder, because he has not moved. And he went down much like Rick Finney did against Oregon State after that 21-yard run. Ironically, his longest run of the year. It came down on his shoulder much like that.
And the ambulance is coming out onto the field.
And they're not looking at knees, are they? It looks like it's the upper part of his body. Possibly that left shoulder. Oh, you hate to see this, of course. His last game, regular season game, is a Husky. The Apple Cup. Maybe they are. I can't tell what exactly they're examining. Of course, he's the number 3 all-time receiver for the Huskies. His father watches him play whenever possible, J.D. His little brother, J.D. Jr., is a Husky. And Don James has gone out and is now returned to the sidelines. You don't see that very often. But then when you have a wide receiver like a Mo Hill,
as valuable as he is, boy,
and as good a man he is, he's just a wonderful guy and one of the leaders on this team. No matter how intense a rivalry might be, you'd never like to see this, or in any game certainly, but hope he's all right, as Jim Walden is still lobbying for whatever he could get.
Looks like they were kind of recapping what's going on. There you see the Husky sideline. Jeff Woodruff, who's Holly.
Let's go down to, okay, we'll try to get Keith Shipman as soon as we can and get a report on Mo Hill. In the depth chart, it's Larry Jackson who would be coming in, number 92, but don't be surprised to see maybe Brian Slater.
Or David Cole.
Or David Cole, yes, he's played quite a bit in the past. Keep an eye on the shoulder now as Mo comes down and we look at it again. Gets away from Ron Collins here. Ooh, the left elbow. He might have hyperextended that left elbow.
That's what happens. That's what happens when you put that arm down.
Oh, my.
I had that happen one time, and it is extremely painful. Watch his left arm collapse as he goes down to catch himself, and there it is. It just collapses on him.
Hyperextension. Well, they weren't looking at his knees when Dennis Seeley, the team trainer, Steve Bramwell, the team doctor, were attending to his injury. So it may still be dislocated, and that's why they're taking so much time to get him into the gurney and onto it. We have 2 minutes and 11 seconds now remaining before halftime. Washington was driving. They just had a completion for a first down by Chandler throwing to Mo Hill, and that's where it happened.
You know, a lot of times when you lose a leader like you do, Mo Hill, the offense will rally around and they'll come in and say, hey, let's get up, guys. Let's go ahead. Let's score for Mo. Let's get in the end zone for Mo, and let's bury these guys. It's real unfortunate to see this happen.
He is walking. He's okay. Still got the fist up in the air, and it is very clear that that left elbow hyperextended. I'm sure they've got the ice on it. Dennis Seeley in the purple and gold sock hat, the team trainer. And they will take him immediately over here to the University Hospital, which is outstanding, by the way.
X-ray it.
Yeah, well, they're treating it so tenderly that you've got to believe it may be still dislocated, if indeed it was. It was certainly hyperextended. Keith Shipman, what do you know?
It is not a hyperextension. It is a dislocation.
All right.
And they are taking him to the hospital right now for x-rays. They will reset the elbow at Pullman Memorial Hospital in the emergency room after they have taken x-rays. So Mo Hill obviously out for the rest of this game. Now it's a question of whether or not he can be back and ready to go for the Sun Bowl game.
Well, it depends just how severe it is. Away he goes, and they will attend to Mo Hill. And let's hope that he will be back in time for that Sun Bowl down in El Paso on Christmas Day, December 25th. And the Huskies go down and play in the sunshine against, well, possibly Alabama or LSU. Sometimes it can have a negative effect, too, on your team. You just lost one of their deep threats.
Well, especially after a big play like that, though, and then you stand around for that long and then trying to get untracked again.
That's right. 2 minutes, 11 seconds remaining in the second quarter. It is 1st and 10 after the completion to Mo Hill on their own 39-yard line. Brian Slater has come in. He is wide to the right, Franklin wide left, and the I formation. And here comes the toilet paper onto the field. Vince Weathersby, quick delay, gets a couple, maybe 3, maybe 4 yards. Going right up the middle on the quick hitter.
Rob Cleveland coming in, hitting him right at the line of scrimmage.
Hill, by the way, had 3 receptions for 34 yards. No huddle as they go into the hurry-up offense. Minute 40 remaining. 2nd down and 5. Chandler wants to throw. Has his tight end. No. Goes over to Slater. Good for the first down at the 40-yard line of Washington State. And Brian Slater is an excellent receiver out of Lake Stevens and will be one of the regulars next year, certainly. As Chris Chandler now looks like he's holding his right arm. Goodness sakes alive.
He is.
Huskies call timeout. Excuse me, Sam.
He is holding that right arm. Last week versus UCLA, after every pass he threw, he was wincing in pain. But watch, he is such a courageous player. I mean, he's out there with that partially separated shoulder. Look at the zip he's able to get on that football. He's sacrificing his body to throw that football.
And Kerry Conklin is now in on the huddle with Don James and Chris Chandler right at the 50-yard line. Kerry, the freshman out of Yakima, who has seen quite a bit of experience in 1986 as a pure freshman. Ooh, he got popped. Not that hard, though, but it may have been enough of it's very tender.
No, it's just the throwing motion that really strains his shoulder as he comes through because it's so much pull up in that deltoid region, that rotator cuff.
Chandler now 10 for 14, 103 yards in the passing department, and he has 1 minute and 35 seconds remaining before halftime. 1st and 10 on the Washington State 40-yard line after that completion to Brian Slater. Slater coming in for the injured Mo Hill. If you've joined us late, he had a dislocated elbow. They've taken him to Pullman Memorial Hospital for x-rays. And they will reset the elbow down there, we are told. 1st and 10 from the 40. Franklin wide to the right, Slater wide to the left side. Slater, very tall wide receiver. Chandler to throw again. Will swing it over. This is Finney back into the game. Has 2 people against him and is hauled down there by Sean Landrum and Ron Collins as he gains roughly 2 yards. It will be 2nd down and 7, so a gain of 3. Again, hurry-up offense by the Huskies. Minute 15 remaining before halftime. Chandler Has time. Now he's going to run. Got to hurry. Rob Cleveland is there along with Brian Ford closing in, breaking on Chandler, and a timeout by Chris.
I got a kick out of, seeing Rick Finney in the ball game last night during the program when Don James was asked a question about Rick Finney. And he said, well, he's made a miraculous recovery, and Jim Walden on the set just kind of rolled his eyes like, yeah, right, buddy, that's one of my tricks.
Trying to get away from, boy, he's got a mean one coming in at him right there.
Brian Ford.
And that's a legal hit. He's not down yet. Bob Cleveland, though, got him from behind, the senior.
The whole Cougar defense is huddled around over on the sideline talking to Lindsey Hughes, and there you see Chris Chandler, Don James, Brian Slater.
There are the timeouts remaining. This game is really slowing down here after the injury on Mo Hill. And it's taken us longer to run the last 2.5 minutes of this quarter than it did the first quarter alone. Jeff Jager has his tee in hand, would be kicking into the wind. The ball right now still on the 33. So he's looking at a 50-yarder at, well, right now as they stand, it would be a 50-yarder. Temperature really hasn't dipped that much from our opening kickoff. Here come the Cougar defense.
And Rick Finney is in the ball game. Coach Matt Simon giving him his last-minute instructions as he ran onto the field.
Now they're going to short yardage situation, and that's where Don James wanted to use him today. Here we go, 3rd down and 3. A minute 2 remaining, second quarter. Huskies 14-10. Slater in motion, top of your screen. Student body pitch, and it's Vince Weathersby for the first down for Washington. Clock will stop as they move the chain downfield. Sean Landrum and Kevin Thomason make the stop on the toss sweep for Vince Weathersby. Weathersby, a lot of yardage here in the first half. Clock now running. 1st and 10 from the 25. Chandler looking deep in the corner for Slater. He's got it. Touchdown Washington with 47 seconds remaining on the clock before halftime.
Great throw by Chris Chandler, throwing it over Sean Landrum and in front of Artie Holmes. Brian Slater took that corner pattern inside and then just angled out. It was just a picture-perfect play.
That's his second touchdown reception of 1986, the sophomore out of Lake Stevens. 6'4". He is a tall receiver and fast.
He is very fast. Coming into the ball game, he only had 5 catches, but he was averaging 22.2 yards a catch. And now he has 2 catches today.
And Jeff Jager again is looking at a PAT rather than a field goal. But I think he'd be very happy with that. That now will send the Huskies into the locker room after 47 seconds of runoff with a 21-10 lead. That was a lovely play. Brian Slater, heir apparent to Mo Hill's position probably next year. I think we can go that far and say it. Who can forget Slater's one-handed catch against BYU? Was held on his right arm by the defender, came around with a left hand and still made a 35-yard reception.
It was unreal. And they also have Fitzgerald, who was involved in a motorcycle accident earlier in the year, broke his leg, but he will be coming back.
He's like a bookend to this man catching the ball. Slater, tall and lean.
Watch him just lay out, bring that ball in. There's Artie Holmes right there, and there's nothing that he can do.
Let's see what Chris thinks about it.
He knows it's there. He says, hey, nothing to this. Can of corn.
Well, they've doubled their touchdown output this year over last year, the Washington offense, that is. And they only needed 30 points coming into this game to become the all-time scoring machine in Husky football history. The kick again. Tough time for Michael James to handle it, and he decides I'm just going to lay down right here on the 17 with 42 seconds remaining, and the rain is starting to come down. A lot of umbrellas popping up around the student body. You see some of them there. Kind of a quiet crowd, Sam. There are a lot of Huskies here, too, so I'm surprised it's not noisier.
Boy, it is quiet. The Cougs need to come out and get a quick score because Washington will have the ball again coming out in the second half, and that's the advantage of that deferral of the kickoff.
42 seconds remaining before halftime. A minute. Check that. 1st down and 10 now on their own 17-yard line. And Blunt is going to lay down and head for the locker room. So, I'm a little surprised at that, actually.
That's uncharacteristic of Jim Walden.
Now, Jim came in saying he thought that this was the best Husky team he'll be facing since 1982 because they have so many more weapons offensively. And you talked about it, how he felt many felt that the Cougars weren't as potent as the Huskies offensively this year, which is uncharacteristic of this series. Blunt lays it down another time, and that'll do it. So we are at halftime, and a late score from Chandler to Brian Slater. A last-second touchdown by the Huskies make it 21-10. Huskies over Jim Walden and the Cougars. This is the Kelly Sports Network. But Washington will be going into the wind in the fourth quarter. Chris Chandler, a very good first half. 2 touchdown passes, 12 for 16. He's on a pace to possibly have his best game ever in the passing department for the Huskies. His high game is 238 yards passing. Thane Cleveland kicking off down to Michael James, deep into the end zone, and he will stay right there. So Washington State down by 11. We'll have it 1st and 10 from their own 20-yard line as we start the third quarter of Apple Cup 86, the 79th time they have gotten together. Last year, 21-20, Washington State. Keith Shipman, what have you got for us?
An injury update from the Husky sideline. Brian Habib will not play in the second half. They are holding him out because he sprained an ankle. Tony Covington has a sprained ankle as well. He's in a play-to-play situation. And also Will Rideout, a backup, is going to be out the rest of the game with a pinched nerve in the neck.
1st and 10 now for the Cougars from their own 20. Blunt still getting out of trouble, runs away from Reggie Rogers. Now's the ball. Now he'll run it. He gets up to the 30, very close to the first down. Let's see where they mark it. A nice job of simply shuffling the feet and staying away from Husky defenders.
And bouncing away from Steve Roberts, who's coming in. We'll watch number 94 come in. Almost wrap Ed Blunt. He spins out. There you see Kent Kuiper finally getting Steve Roberts down, who had Ed's ankle, and then Ed turns it upfield, gets what he can, and then get down. He was able to get just enough to get a first down.
So 1st and 10 on their own 30-yard line after the 10-yard game, and shuffle and scramble and all that good stuff for Ed Blunt. 1st and 10 from the 30. District Taylor goes in motion. They take the sweep or the pitch, and now they try to go to Kerry Porter, who didn't get turned around in time as David Rill was defending, number 38.
David Rill was step for step with Kerry Porter. Ed Blunt tried to throw the pass a little bit behind, similar to what he did with Michael James on Bo Yates.
Earlier, yeah.
At that time, Kerry Porter's not quite as nifty as a wide receiver.
In come the wide receivers, Rod Olson and company. So they bring in the play on 2nd and 10. Second quarter just underway for Ed Blunt and his Cougars. From the 30, Kingstad again in motion from the running back spot. Goes quickly, the little look in, interception to Boy Williams. Maybe they went to the well one time too many. That has worked very well for the Cougars. It did in the first half, but this time Huskies were there and were able to knock the ball around.
Well, I don't think they went to the well too often because he was open, but the ball was just a little bit behind, and Rod tips the ball up and wants Demoy stick out his right hand and just barely come up with that football, keep it from hitting the ground. Excellent effort.
Got to admit, though, he's attracting a lot bigger crowd than he did earlier in the game.
It's called halftime adjustment.
That's right. Big turnaround and great field position for the Huskies. 1st and 10 on the Cougar 38-yard line. Slater in for Mo Hill, goes in motion. The toss sweep going to Vince Weathersby, but nothing there. As number 76, Ivan Cook, comes in with a wonderful play in the backfield and gets the tackle for loss.
Ivan Cook has played very well for Washington State the last 2 ball games.
Scoreboard now saying no gain and no loss, so it'll be 2nd down and 10. Thought he got him a little deeper in the backfield, but not the case. 2nd down and 10 from the 38. The interception on the missed pass to Rod Olson. Demoy Williams getting it. Rod Jones now tied into the right. Slater wide right. Franklin wide left. Has a sore ankle. Chandler wants to throw right across the middle. Slater wide open with the pass behind him as Sean Landrum was defending. But Slater was there.
And Chris Chandler snapping his fingers in disgust, wishing to have that one back. Just throw it out a little bit more in front of Brian Slater, and the Huskies have 6 because he was behind Kevin Thomason, number 6, the free safety for Washington State.
Landrum, number 9 in total tackles coming into this game for the Cougars, defending on that particular play. He has 2 interceptions this year. 3rd down and 10. Washington trying to make something of that turnover, the interception by DeMoy Williams. 21-10, Huskies, 3rd quarter just underway. Franklin left, Slater right. Straight drop back. Again, they go to Slater with his height advantage, leaps up and has the touchdown, Washington. Standing at 6'4", going against the 5'9", Sean Landrum, and it really paid off there, Sam.
What a great effort. He slowed down. I'm surprised he did not throw a flag because Sean Landrum was all over him, bumping him, not really playing the ball. But watch this isolation. Brian Slater going down the field. Now watch Landrum hit him. He runs up his back. Brian Slater knows the pass is a little bit short. Watch him slow down and let Landrum run up his back. There should have been a flag there, but great concentration, and he comes down with that pass.
Brian Slater coming in for the injured Mo Hill already has 2 touchdown passes. What is that? 2 passes, 2 completions, 2 touchdowns?
Oh, he's got 3 completions,
3,
but he should transfer those to Mo so he can break the record.
That's right. 3 receptions for 69 yards, 2 of those touchdowns. The PAT good by Jaeger, and Lightning striking not only a second time, but very quickly. 28-10, Washington.
Hello, Brian. I was with her last night. You know who? That blonde with the Porsche. Guess what happened? Yeah.
Union Bay Sportswear. You wear it. You don't talk about it.
Cougar fans, whether you live in Colville, Cle Elum, Kelso, or anywhere in Washington, PEMCO can save you money. Let PEMCO tackle all your personal insurance needs. Auto, home, and boat. Discover our fast, friendly service. Then you'll know why more than 300,000 Washington residents insure with PEMCO. And you can report a claim day or night, 7 days a week. The clock never runs out at PEMCO. Put PEMCO in your court. Call for a free rate quotation now. Brian Slater with 2 touchdown receptions in this ball game. One late with 47 seconds remaining in the second quarter, and then very quickly here with 13:24 remaining in the third quarter, he gets his second of the day. 28-10 Washington. Cleveland's kick again to Michael James, and with the win, and this one all the way up into the lower seats. So again, back to the 20-yard line for the Washington State offense, and now they look at a 17, check that, an 18-point deficit instead of 11. Let's pause for a moment to let our stations on the Kelly Sports Network identify themselves. This indeed is the Kelly Sports Network.
This is Q13, KCPQ 13 Tacoma, the College Sports Channel.
Welcome back to Martin Stadium, 28-10 Washington. Don Poyer with Sam Atkins, Keith Shipman, Bud Namick on the sidelines. 1st and 10 from the 20. One pitches to Kerry Porter. Porter is smothered there by Reggie Rogers and a host of Huskies. Tony Zachary was in there, number 25. Ooh, middle linebacker for the Cougars, Brian Ford, having a wheel taped up.
Washington defense played that option very well. David Rill did not go for the inside fake. They have not really gone with it with the inside dive all day, so he just scraped outside and had the pitch man shut down.
2nd down and 9. They give him 1 yard as Kittrick Taylor goes in motion. Fakes the pitch. Roll out. Throw against the grain, looking for Rod Olson. We saw that play earlier today. And incomplete for a second time, as a matter of fact.
Almost an identical throw.
Yeah.
Reggie Rogers is the one. He's maintaining his leverage. He's not letting Ed get outside. He's just kind of coming in from the backside because they do run that dash pass where he makes it look like a drop back and then spins out of the pocket. There you see Reggie Rogers.
Reggie, one of the finalists for the Lombardi Trophy this year. 3rd down and 9. And here comes everybody. They pass complete to the 25, well short of the first down as Michael James has the reception, but good defense by Tommy Erlinson, David Rill, the 2 inside linebackers doing the job. So it is time to punt, into the wind for the Cougars. Michael James leading receiver for the Cougars this year, too.
I believe they're averaging 22 yards a punt into the wind. So that wind definitely taking its toll.
Looks like Huskies might have 10 people going on the block as well. Myers back to do the punting on his own 12-yard line. Low punt, very low. Andre Riley, one hop, here he comes from the 40, and good coverage by Ronnie Lee as he gets to the 41-yard line of Washington. So the Huskies probably thinking in terms of trying to blow this one out as they've got that 18-point lead all of a sudden on the quick touchdown for Don James coming out of the locker room at halftime.
That's right. He could, pretty soon we might see some, if they score on this drive, I think that you'll see some new personnel coming in. Kerry Conklin might get a little bit of experience in his first Apple Cup.
37-yard punt by Myers. Wisely kicks it low into that wind. So 1st and 10, Vince Weathersby on the toss sweep. Good yardage into Cougar territory down to the 47-yard line of Washington State. Artie Holmes in there along with Sean Landrum. And that was Sean. I thought I saw 19, but it was number 18. Good for a first down. Weathersby had 89 yards in that first half, so he has at least 99. Exactly 99. Gary Porter needed 169 to hit the 1,000-yard mark for this year. Get you updated on that. 1st and 10 from the Cougar 47. Again, it's Vince Weathersby trying to get away from the linebacker.
Well, look at the way that he works after he is hit. He is just wriggling all over the place trying to get that extra yardage.
Tony Covington coming off the field, not limping, but again, he has a bad wheel as well, a sprained ankle. Gain of 4 by Vince, so that puts him over the century mark for the day. 103 yards on 15 carries. So Vince is having a whale of an Apple Cup. His second. Played last year as a freshman in the tundra of Husky Stadium. 2nd down and 6. Again, Vince, same play, toss sweep. Finds the seam, Sean Landrum, fumble, and it goes out of bounds. Husky ball. Big break for the Huskies. May have even picked up a couple of yards.
Excuse me, Don, there was a case in point of running against that small linebacker, Bob Gregory. He just got stuffed on that play, which allowed Vince to get around that corner, gain that yardage.
You look at the front line of the Huskies, though. Brostick at 272. You see the other people that are so big up there, Zingowski, Kevin Gogan at 300 pounds. They're going against people that aren't nearly that size for Washington State. Very active, but not as big. 1st and 10 from the 35 of the Cougars. Chandler, swing over to Weathersby on a screen pass. Good block. First down. We've got a penalty flag, though, as Weathersby gets down to the 22-yard line of Washington State.
Garth Thomas threw a nice block on Jeff Loomis.
Number 68. I think we may have a clip. And here comes the call. It is indeed a clip on Washington, so they'll back it up. And it'll be 1st down and 20. Back on their own 45-yard line.
Might be because a clip is from spot foul.
Point of infraction, you're right.
So it'll be 1st and 15 because they were right at the 1st down marker.
Flipping. Offense. Still 1st down.
So we're looking at roughly 1st down. They need from the 40 to get down to the 25-yard line. So 1st and 15. Darrell Franklin coming out wide to the right for Chris Chandler at quarterback. Slater wide to the left again against the shorter Sean Landrum. And the eye with Finney at fullback. And they go to Vince Weathersby. Here's the reverse to Darrell Franklin. Gets one good block down to the 30 and out of bounds at the 29. Short of the 1st down by about 4 yards.
I bet Gary Pinkel, the offensive coordinator and quarterback coach, about fainted. Watch Chris Chandler come out and lead the block. There you see the exchange. Darrell Franklin. You watch number 17. He'll come in, throw a block right there.
Loomis
saying, "What are you doing? You got that separated shoulder."
Use a leg or something. I don't care if you get called for tripping. Just don't hurt the shoulders. Darrell Franklin coming up with a 10-yard run. So it is now 2nd down and 5 from the 30. Washington leading 28-10. Finney, Vince Weathersby in the backfield. Here's Finney with the ball. Number 75, though, Tony Savage waiting for him at the line of scrimmage. Tony, the redshirt freshman out of San Francisco. Let's go down to Keith Shipman on the Husky sideline.
Here is an update on Lonzel Mo Hill. Dr. Steve Bramwell has just returned from Pullman Memorial Hospital. They put his elbow back in place. There were no fractures. Dr. Bramwell seems rather optimistic, although this is a 3 to 6 week injury.
Ooh.
And it'll just be a day-to-day type of thing for rehabilitation for Lonzel Hill.
Yeah, we're 4 weeks away from the Sun Bowl, so time will tell. 3rd down and 4 for the Huskies. Ball on the 29 of Washington State. Chandler now looking. He'll take it himself and gets down to about the 26-yard line and looks like about a yard short as Brian Ford comes in on the tackle. And it'll be 4th down. Maury Metcalf also in on the play. Here it is again. He wanted to throw a little hitch pattern, maybe.
He did, and then he finally tried to make something happen, knowing that he only had to go little ways, tried to make it himself. But Maury Metcalf, Brian Ford right there to make the tackle. So Jeff Jaeger was probably hoping that he wouldn't make it so that he can break this record.
Jaeger now with 77 field goals. This would put him in 2nd place with Louis Zendejas. Is it Louis or Max?
Max.
Max Zendejas, who is in 2nd. It is up. 40-yarder. And it is good. So he is now 2nd in the all-time mark across the country. 8:42 remaining here in the 3rd quarter. Washington 31, Cougars 10. Back to the Apple Cup in a minute.
Pour in ice-cold Hams and treat yourself to the premium beer from the land of sky blue waters. Great tasting Hams.
For quality and value, it's always been Nissan leading the way, and it still is, with this $630 Value Plus package at no extra cost to you. Get this tough stepped bumper, sliding rear window, dual outside mirrors, and much more. A $630 package on king cab, long bed, and regular bed 4x2s at no extra cost. For a hard body, tough truck with all these extras, the name is Nissan.
Thane Cleland ready to kick off. Jeff Jaeger with kickoff, or check that, field goal number 78. The magic number is 79. That's John Lee's UCLA all-time mark and NCAA all-time mark. One more and he ties it. He's tied with Max Zendejas right now. And the Cougars, Michael James will leave it in the end zone. He's been doing a lot of that today with that wind blowing into the enclosed end of the stadium. Number 78. 41 yards. One more. Got a funny feeling we just might see it, too. And everybody's got to root for him in that. Cougars, Huskies.
He's had a great career.
He sure has. Especially the pain he's gone through. That's what, 15 for 19 this year. Came in with 14. So it's 1st and 10 for the Cougars now on their own 20. Blunt holds on. Gets a couple of yards after the fake on the dive.
Jay Roberts is now in for Steve Roberts.
And Jay's banged up.
There's a Cougar sideline there. You see the Cougar defense.
Not a happy group
Cleveland,
right
Brian Ford, Jeff Loomis, Maury Metcalf, Ivan Cook.
2nd down and 8 after the 2-yard gain on the keeper by Ed Blunt at quarterback. Sears goes in motion. Blunt looks for Sears, has him, fumble. Huskies are there. Looks like Alan James has it. For the Huskies, yes, indeed, it is Husky football. David Rill comes up with it.
When it rains, it pours.
And another takeaway for that Husky defense. Tommy Erlitzen in there along with him on the congratulations. Here it is again. Wrapped up beautifully from behind.
That's the 2nd fumble recovery this year for David Rill.
Is that Zachary? I can't see the number. No, it was Bo Yates who stripped him, caused the fumble, and David Rill on the recovery.
There's Jim Walden.
Not too happy about what he saw.
He's requesting a replay.
incomplete pass, they are ruling it. So the referee in that position was overruled by... I think we better look at that one again.
Don James is
How
now
can
going to
they
plead
call
his
that?
case.
He was certainly not on the ground.
See if he has possession of it. Watch there.
Sure he does. Both feet are on the ground.
Yeah, and then he turns.
And he's not on the ground. Whoops. Not a good call. But the Cougars have new life. 3rd down and 8. On their own 22. James goes in motion. Blunt. Getting a little warm back there. Jay Roberts comes in with a sack. Jay Roberts with a bad back. Comes in on the sack, the second one of the day for the Huskies. For Jay Roberts, that is his 3rd for the year.
And the 10th for that strong linebacker position. Steve Roberts also has 7 sacks.
Boy,
watch him come again from the backside. Ed cannot find the receiver. He's trying to go down the right sideline to Michael James. And he is not open, so Ed's trying to buy some time. Jay Roberts runs him down.
Call that a coverage sack as Andre Riley is back awaiting the Myers punt. And it is blocked. And the ball goes out of bounds on about the 13, call it the 11-yard line of Washington State.
I believe it was Bruce Beal that got that punt.
Number 48, a backup in the middle linebacker position. If indeed he was the man, I don't know. Let's see who's being congratulated. Looks like it was Bruce.
Watch him come in and just take the ball right off the punter's foot. Boom.
Bruce Beal, number 48. Yes, indeed. The junior out of Portland.
When it rains, it pours.
He's quite a bird hunter, and he got himself quite a bird there.
Got it with his left arm.
So, the fumble called off. The block punt now by the Huskies. There's a big play as Chandler tries to run the bootleg, but staying home very well, Ivan Cook, the sophomore out of Roseville, California. His 2nd tackle for loss this year. And Ivan coming in with 35 touchdown tackles coming into this game. Just a nice job of not falling for the bootleg. That has worked well for the Huskies this year, but not against Ivan. So it's 2nd down and 17. Ball on the 18. Slater wide to the right. Now he comes in motion. Franklin wide left. Big hole. Vince Weathersby inside the 10 to the 9-yard line. Brian Ford on the tackle, the junior from Montreal, Quebec. Kevin Thomason also there.
Huge hole by Vern Brostek, Garth Thomas, and Mike Zandowski.
Vern Brostek, a redshirt freshman. Zandowski, a sophomore. Garth Thomas, a senior, though. A lot of people coming back. Huskies with a chance to break it wide open. 3rd down and 8 from the 9. The lob to Slater. Can't get to it. And it'll be 4th down. And guess who's coming onto the field? Kevin Gogan wishing him good luck. Jeff Jaeger comes out, and he could tie the national record here. He has 78 field goals. This kick from the 16, a 26-yarder, would put the senior in the record books for good. He could tie John Lee's UCLA record. And every Husky out there knows. Let's just simply watch. It is up. He ties history. Jeff Jaeger with his 79th field goal and his 16th of the year. Timeout on the field. 5:56 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Washington 34. Washington State 10.
Don't be caught fresh out. Stock up on Mountain Fresh Rainier now.
over 20 years in all kinds of racing. This may be the best result we've ever had. The Acura Integra, from a new division of American Honda, exclusively at Acura dealers.
Here it is. He ties John Lee for field goals in a collegiate career. This is number 79 for young man out of Kent, Washington.
Watch his reaction. And the team just swarmed him after that kick. They saw it was good.
Back to Michael James on the kickoff to the 10, to the 15, and that'll do it as David Hawkins gets the tackle. So we have a flag down back on the 9-yard line. Mike Gaffney was back there. It's against Washington State, according to Greg Travis. There's Jeff.
Against Washington State.
All he wants is one more so he can own the record outright.
He's not cold at all right now.
And there's his kicking buddy, Thane Cleland.
Jeff has gone through a lot of pain this year with that left plant foot. Muscles in there, simply worked too hard. I guess that's the best way of putting it.
Well, all of a sudden the pressure mounts as you near that record, just like Steve Largent trying to catch that pass and everything. Yeah. You know, put a lot of pressure on everybody.
The receiving team during the run back, first down Washington State.
The clipping call on the Cougars. So they are back on their own 6-yard line. So Jeff Jager now in the history books. Washington State's had 5 penalties this afternoon for 40 yards. First down and 10 from their own 6-yard line, and it's getting dark here in Pullman. Michael James goes in motion. Little quick hitter with Kerry Porter out to about the 7-yard line. Tommy Erlandson on the stop. Tommy will be back next year, the junior. So will David Rill. So Huskies will be strong in the middle.
So will Albert Tufono. So will Ricky Andrews.
Bruce Beal will be back. Bo Yates is back. Keelan Matthews. Jay Roberts. The people they lose, of course, the Reggie Rogers, the Steve Alvord, Steve Roberts. A lot of people coming back. And the Cougars next year and the year after that, look out. They got some great young talent. The pass deep to Cotton Sears, and the hit by Tim Peoples. On second down, so it'll be 3rd and 9.
The crowd wishing for a flag, thinking that that was unnecessary roughness on the part of Tim Peoples throwing a shot to Cotton Sears. He just wanted to make sure he didn't catch that football.
So 3rd down and 9, ball on the 7. Ed Blunt. Tim Stallworth in the game, going in motion right side. Here comes the sack. Will it be a safety? No. The sack coming on the 1-yard line. Reggie Rogers, David Rill, the whole student body coming in on that one. And we have a flag down. It was back in the secondary.
Watch, they come all out. And David Rill, Tom Erlandson come in. Just an all-out blitz with the inside backers, knowing that Washington State has to throw the football.
Defensive holding against the Huskies, however. That would have been the 3rd sack for David Rill this year. Had a couple of beauties against, had one against Oregon on a blitz. David is back out of South Kitsap High School in Port Orchard. Brother Mark, an All-American offensive lineman for Pacific Lutheran. They are playing #1 ranked Linfield today in the NAIA playoffs.
Defense, still 3rd down.
Yeah.
And congratulations to David Rill for being named first team All-Academic Pac-10.
He'll get some other awards too, as far as
for the 2nd year in a row.
Gentleman is studying pre-med, would like to get into sports medicine after his playing days. Not really interested in professional football. As we asked him once, thinking about the NFL. No. That simple.
Just one of those, if it happens, it happens, but he's not counting on it. He's preparing for the future. There's Jim Walden.
So is Jim Walden preparing for the future. As I said, in a couple of years, these young people are going to be outstanding players. Hey! It's... Hi, gang. Hey, isn't this exciting up here? It's 30 degrees. So now on 1st and 10 after the penalty. And we got another penalty complete to Kitrick Taylor. Taylor, it would be great if he could get a touchdown pass today, because that would tie him with Hugh Campbell for a single season Cougar record of touchdown receptions with 10, but he has 9 coming in.
And Kittrick Taylor has never lost to the Huskies in his career. He was injured in the 1984 ball game, so this would be the first time in his career that he has lost to Washington.
Preliminary call, face mask on the Huskies. With 4:39 remaining here in the third quarter. 34-10 Washington.
David Rill looking to the sideline, trying to get the signal.
Nevertheless, the ball moves upfield on the call against Washington. But this is a time when your front line and your secondary, or rather your linebackers, can really pin the ears back and go and rush the quarterback.
Mask on the defense. Penalties refused.
So the reception to Taylor, they get the first down anyway. Let's see if we can find the face mask call.
Let's see if we can pick it up here.
That's not Reggie, I don't think. No. I think it was in the secondary because the flag.
Right there, Reggie.
It was Reggie?
Just as he disappears out of the picture.
You got great eyes, I tell you, Sam.
No, we got a great director.
Must have played quarterback. Yeah, that's true. Steve Woodruff, Mark Cosby coming through again. And Doug Wetz. And Tommy Erlandson. No, they don't get it. Well, they're going to call a possession or in the grass?
In the grass.
So the sack for Tommy Erlandson coming through from his inside linebacker position. That is his, officially on my stats anyway, his first sack for the junior from Aurora, Colorado. He had 1 tackle for loss coming into this game.
And that's the 3rd sack today by the Huskies. You watch him come inside, and Ed feels the pressure. Erlandson coming. They know that Washington State has to throw the football, so they are going to pin their ears back. That's what the defensive game plan was. Throwing situations, attack them.
Pretty quick call, too, I would say.
Yeah, and it really hurts a strong quarterback like Ed Blunt, who is such an effective runner.
I think Jim might have a legitimate case on that one.
Well, he's saying this isn't the NFL. Let him play football.
That's right. But then again, I remember a pass they called incomplete a little earlier here in the second half. It was not called a fumble, so it balances out, as they say. It comes out in the wash.
What goes around comes around.
All right, 2nd down and 21 after the sack by Erlandson, his first of the year. 3:56 remaining in the third quarter. One to throw again with nobody in the backfield. Intercepted. Tony Zachary, the leading theft on this team, and we have a flag down in the secondary. He was number 1 in interceptions with 4 coming in, and that would be number 5, but let's see if it stands. I don't see Huskies jumping around for joy. It's
and Ed Blunt signaled it was against.
Yeah. Interference on the Huskies.
Tony Zachary, hands on his hips, cannot believe it. Saying, you've got to be kidding me.
I don't know.
Watch him make a break just as the last instant and step in front of Rick Chase. But you really can't see it that well. And boy, I don't know what they were calling as far as whether it was, in fact,
defense, automatic first down.
It'd be nice if they would give you the number of the guilty party.
Again, as Jim Walden said, this is not the NFL. So an automatic first down, as our referee told us, from the 40-yard line of Washington State. Used up for penalties today, 6 of them for 68 yards.
And Washington prides itself on being one of the least penalized teams in the Pac-10.
1st and 10 from the 40. James in motion, Blunt still with the ball. Nice job of putting the hand down and trying to make something out of the play as he got a couple. Almost let that knee touch right at the line of scrimmage. Understand there are a couple of outstanding freshman quarterbacks at Washington State that will give Tim Rosenbach quite a push too next year. Dennis Brown down, number 79, the pure freshman.
And he is filling in for the injured Brian Habib.
That's right. Bring in maybe Bob Willig or someone like that. So Dennis comes out. He's had problems with ankles most of the year. See that left ankle is heavily bandaged. Dennis Seeley, man on the right in the stocking cap's been busy today.
Too busy. He likes those nice quiet ball games where he never has to make a grand entrance.
Well, at least he's saying, I've got a good 4 weeks before the next game. 2nd down and 8 for the Cougars. 34-10 Washington. We're in the third quarter. 3:20 remaining. 2 wide receivers left side. There goes Porter in motion, so nobody in the backfield. Blunt looking left side. Has a couple of Huskies there along with Kittrick Taylor. And Taylor overthrown.
Great coverage by Washington defense. There was just absolutely nowhere for Ed Blunt to go with that football. They covered the safety valves. They covered the downfield receivers. Ed just simply threw that one out of bounds. If my guy doesn't get it, then no one will get it.
Well, the biggest part of their game now taken away because they go on deception so much. Washington knows that now with a big lead. They can back up, let them do all the faking they want, just stay home and cover your area. So it's tough for Ed Blunt right now. 3rd down and 8. Again, 2 wide receivers to the left and Porter in motion to the right. Quarterback draw, but Steve Albert is there waiting for him. And that's called staying home, and now we have a flag down.
And Al Boatman, you see number 62 right there at the bottom of your screen, just standing there saying, which way did he go? Albert just ate his lunch on that one.
The lookout block. And another personal foul on Washington.
Number 7.
Another penalty, rather, not another personal foul. Don James got to be disturbed about this. Not the kind of football he likes. And I'd like to know who they called it on. That's a big one, of course, and they go into Husky territory. I think something might have been said after the play, because the flag went up right about now.
No, they're calling, I believe, Bob Willick for spearing.
Okay, the helmet coming into the body.
Yeah, because Ed Blunt's back was there. 6'5", 247-pound sophomore.
Cougars are keeping this drive going. Seems like it's been a month of Sundays. 1st and 10, now on the Husky 45, so 15 yards picked up on that. As Victor Wood goes in motion, Blunt still with the ball. Erlinson giving chase and holds on after the gain of about 1 yard. Reggie Rogers also assisting, and David Rill. Keith Shipman's down with the Huskies. We'll get to him in just a moment on an update on Dennis Brown's condition. Steve Roberts coming off the field. So it is 2nd down and 9 on the Husky 44. Gain of 1 by Blunt. 2 in the backfield. James goes in motion to the right. Blunt looks to the right. He's got Cotton Sears. Nice completion for the 1st down to the 30-yard line. Well executed play, and Ed Blunt is down right at midfield.
And Jay Roberts, the man who delivered the blow. Mark Smaha quickly running out. I believe since Mark came on the field that Ed's going to have to go out for 1 play.
As I understand it, yes. If you're attended to, you've got to walk out, so Tim Rosenbaum will come in.
Watch a great throw. He throws this one on a line, but look at the shot that he takes. Cotton Sears against Demoy Williams just wraps it up.
So the Cougars are moving. Tim Rosenbaum, the freshman, coming in now to play for Ed Blunt after getting knocked around by Jay Roberts. 1st and 10 from the Husky 30-yard line. 2:06 remaining, 3rd quarter. Porter on the dive. No, looks like, what do we got? It's getting dark. Reggie Rogers was in there, let's face it, along with Harry Porter trying to go with the dive. Blunt now 11 for 20, passing 159 yards.
They tried to run the option
I'm still
play.
not sure who had the ball on that. Clarify it for me.
Well, they tried to run the option play, and Kerry Porter cinched down on the football, and Tim could not pull it back out. So then all of a sudden, they just wrapped up that whole pile and then started throwing bodies out to see who had the ball.
Clock winding down, minute 29 here in the 3rd quarter. 2nd and 9. Blunt back into the game at quarterback. Across the middle. Michael James, yes, he holds on.
What a catch.
And another flag is down.
What a catch. He should get 2 receptions for this catch.
Let's see what the call is. Don James is going to be very upset after this game, I have a feeling. I'm not saying with the referees, but whatever is going on.
And Demoy Williams is the one, Tom Erlinson playing peacemaker. Watch this catch by Michael James. Brother Chris James played for Washington.
Right.
But watch the catch. He goes down to get the ball, loses it, kicks it with the leg, and it stays with it. That's great concentration. Receiver coach Ken Woody has got to be proud.
Demoy Williams defending. Washington now 8 penalties, 90 yards. 1st and goal from the 3 after the circus catch by Michael James. Wood goes in motion left. Inside, Kerry Porter. They practiced this play a great deal Thursday night, where they show strong left, maybe even flow to the left, and then cut back quickly to Kerry Porter like that. David Rill in on the tackle with Steve Alvord. Keith Shipman on the sidelines.
It looks like Dennis Brown's day is over. He re-injured that left ankle that's been bothering him the last 2 weeks. They've wrapped it up with ice. He has his tarp cover on right now. You need something big to put around him because he's such a big boy. And he's done for the day.
Omar's tent non company. Michael James in motion on 2nd and goal from the 2. Kerry Porter hitting the backfield. He fights his way in for the touchdown. Nice second effort for the senior out of Montana, Kerry Porter.
And he's not giving up that football. He said, I paid my dues. I at least want one souvenir from the Apple Cup.
Touchdown number 3 for Kerry in 1986. The senior out of Great Falls, Montana, with a terrific year. Needing 163 yards coming into this game to hit the 1,000-yard mark. He has 56 for the day.
You have to wonder how many penalties kept that drive alive. I believe there were 4 of them during that drive that gave Washington State first down.
Adams' kick is up, and it is good. So with 23 seconds remaining in the third quarter, Washington still leading by the score of 34-17. Strange drive. Strange drive.
Now Washington will come out with the football. And I believe we'll see Kerry Conklin coming in at quarterback.
And again, like when he had a chance to come in for Ohio State, other games where he got some great valuable experience, again here. Here's, of course, the Porter touchdown.
Watch Kerry Porter just get hit in the backfield, Bo Yates, and then he just keeps his feet working and gets across, breaks that plane for a touchdown. He learned that move from Tony Covington, the old back into the end zone move.
2-yard run by Porter on the record books. 94-yard drive. Remember that started way back on the 6th. 13 plays. 8 up 5.5 minutes. So we're now looking at a 34-17 score with 23 seconds remaining. Third quarter.
Nico Brastoff ready to kick off.
Andre Riley, ranked 18th in the country in punt returns, coming into this contest. With Taylor right next to it. Franklin to the 20, 25, and knocked out of bounds at about the 28-yard line. And a few people getting overheated down there on a very cold day on the carpet in Spartan Stadium. First and 10 for the Huskies as they line it up now on the 28.5-yard line. Chris Chandler coming in. I'll be darned. Rick Finney at fullback.
Chris Chandler and Kerry Conklin were playing catch, and Chris was just trying to keep his shoulder warm.
First and 10 now from the 28. It's Weathersby already past the 100-yard mark, and he picked up a bundle as he goes to the 41-yard line, and a first down for the Huskies. Ricky Reynolds on the stop.
Great shot from the end zone. You saw the guard lead up in that hole. Vince Weathersby just get on his hip and follow the way through.
That'll be a first down now for the Huskies. We have to come up with a couple of players of the game here pretty soon. Might be tough today. A lot of people performing awfully well. 5 seconds remaining in the quarter. Clock running down, and the Huskies will simply wait it out. 13-yard run by Vince. He has 132 yards for the day, and another quarter to go. That's the end of the third quarter, and it has been all Washington on the scoreboard, 34-17. We'll be back. This is the Kelly Sports Network.
Your life is full of surprises. And so is Fred Meyer.
With all the services you get for just $4.95 a month, it's no wonder the other banks don't want you to know about Bank Club. Puget Sound Bank, the hometown bank.
Apple Cup 86 is brought to you in part by Fred Meyer and by Puget Sound Bank.
Welcome back to Apple Cup 1986. I'm Don Poyer along with Sam Atkins, Keith Shipman down on the Husky sideline, and Bud Namick over with the Cougar sideline, and Ed Blunt talking it over with his receivers. And with the helmet on, Victor Wood. First and 10 now for the Huskies on their own 41-yard line, leading 34-10. Vince Weathersby already with 132 yards in the first 3 quarters of this game. Picking up 2 or 3 more as he gets up near the 44-yard line. That's where they'll mark it. A gain of 3. So he's up to the 135 mark after Irwin Chappell makes the tackle. Washington with a win here would be at 8-2-1 heading into the Sun Bowl. And 7-1 for the Cougars should they lose it. Little play action. Good pressure by the Cougars. Here comes Chandler now as he rolls out. Gets to the 47 and takes quite a hit to the shoulder as he goes to the, check that, the 49-yard line. Brian Ford was in there in the middle of it. Well, he looks like he's okay. Put up the 2 hands like, hey, I took the shot, I'm okay.
And he got up very quickly saying, hey, you didn't really hurt me. That didn't hurt. That wasn't nothing. Give me your best shot. He didn't want to let him know that he hurt.
Well, I don't think I'd ever tell Brian Ford to give me his best shot. When you're standing at 6'2", 224, and you can run about a 4.6 40, no way. 3rd down and 2 for the Huskies. Toss sweep, Vince Weathersby. 1st down, Washington. Maury Metcalf and Brian Ford there defensively for the Cougars, but it's another 1st down for Vince Weathersby and the Huskies. Vince now approaching 140 yards for the day. Boy, what an effort. I can't say enough about him, and what you've said all along, Sam, is how he is able to keep his feet and take a number of hits and still get extra yardage.
Well, I think part of the reason is, though, that they stress that so much for the Huskies, you know, how many yards you gain after contact, that you're so aware of it that it becomes natural. It's second instinct.
And the Huskies have 2 more years with Vince. 1st and 10 from the 47 now of Washington State. And flag down. We had some movement there near the ball. Up on the line. Ricky Reynolds talking to the referee. A little lobbying by the Cougars. Looked like it possibly was a Cougar helmet getting too close to Brostick, the center. And we also have a man down, Mike Zendowski,
who's been playing hurt since the 1st quarter.
Mike Zandowski is the player.
Kittrick Taylor there, the senior. Kittrick, I understand, has a slight concussion. That's the report we got from down on the field. And Mike coming off the field.
Looks like he might have hurt that shoulder again.
I remember walking off the plane with him from Stanford, game in Palo Alto, and I'll tell you, he could barely get up the jet right. He was one sore young man. 1st down and 5 after the penalty against Washington State. Right up the middle. Short of the 1st down is Weathersby. Maury Metcalf and Kevin Thomason on the stop.
Rick Benny's coming back into the ball game.
12:36 remaining in the 4th quarter. And Washington has been in control of this game since about 47 seconds remaining in the 2nd quarter when Chandler hit Brian Slater, who came in for the injured Mo Hill, in the corner of the end zone to make it 28-10 at halftime. 2nd and 1. Huskies more than likely will keep it on the ground. Weathersby finds his way through a lot of crimson jerseys for the first down. Check that, Andre Riley in the ball game.
Vince came running over. Mark Larson came into the ball game for the injured Mike Zandowski.
Keith, what do you know about Zandowski?
He has a hyperextended left elbow, and they're going to hold him out the rest of the ball game. So add that to that shoulder injury that he's had, and he's not having any kind of luck on the left side today.
All right. Mo Hill, his left elbow dislocated. Lean to the right a little more often here. First and 10 on the 31 of the Cougars, as Chris Chandler out of Everett, Washington, directing the Husky offense. First and 10. Riley. Good yardage down near the 26-yard line. 11:33 remaining in this one. Should keep in mind, too, we don't have a great number of lights here on the field. Riley goes off the field.
Vince Weathersby comes back in.
We may have all the ambulances, the production trucks, and the fans' cars line up on the sidelines, turn on yellow headlights before it's over with. No problem. Second down and 5. Rod Jones now at tight end, left side. And we may have had too much time. Just as the snap occurred and the whistles blew, 25-second clock was already reset to 25.
Procedure.
Quiet crowd here in Martin Stadium this year. Who could forget 1982, 1984 when the Huskies won here, and 82 the great victory for the Cougars.
Still second down.
Talking to the fans here, they expected more of a ball game similar to what they had against USC. They had that same kind of feeling all week that, hey, this team rises to the occasion. They play to the level of their opponent.
Second and 10 for the Huskies, and the Huskies have been quite an opponent, to say the least, today. Slater now in motion. Weathersby. Great acceleration that time coming off the ball. Oh, my.
You talk about that 1984 ball game. Washington was Orange Bowl bound.
Yeah.
And the fans here threw oranges onto the field. One Cougar student said to me, he says, geez, they're going to the Sun Bowl now. What are we supposed to throw?
Yeah, I remember that. One of the pictures that was in the paper after that game was Reggie Rogers walking off the field holding an orange above him. Third down and 4 on the 25 of Washington State. 10-minute mark, fourth quarter. Chandler going to throw right across the middle. Slater, touchdown number 3 for Slater today. Oh, what a day for the young man out of Lake Stevens.
They have definitely thrown the ball away from Ricky Reynolds, Washington State's best defensive back. They've kind of put the burden on Sean Landrum. But with Slater's great speed, I don't think Landrum had any idea what kind of a ball player that Slater was.
Not that many people know all that much about him, but I think it's quite evident that the Huskies will not be dropping off all that much when it comes to wide receivers next year. You can probably expect a Slater and a Franklin combo, much like we had a Franklin-Hill combo this year. And Brian is leaving his mark with his 3rd touchdown catch of the year, of the game. Check that, of the game. 9:55 remaining in the game, 41-17. Back in just a moment.
Calories. 96 calories. Mountain Fresh taste.
Oh, baby, it's cold outside. Baby, it's cold outside.
When
summer turns to fall, turn to Union Bay Sportswear.
Because, baby, it's cold outside.
Husky fans made the drive over to Pullman for the game, either last night or coming over today. As far as the Cougar bench, nice thing about football, there is always next year. And let me tell you something, the Cougars in the next couple of years are going to be a serious team to contend with. On the kickoff, which bounces around, John Rust coming up, who is in the depth charts one of the inside linebackers, middle linebacker.
And he's coming off.
And he got hurt.
His arm.
Oh, goodness sakes.
It's better to give than to receive those blows.
Brian Slater, by the way, 4 receptions for 94 yards, and of course 3 of those receptions for touchdowns today. First and 10 now for Washington State, right on their own 30-yard line. Ed Blunt at quarterback. 2 wide receivers to the left. Here's Kerry Porter trying to pick up some more yardage as he plays his final quarter in the crimson and gray. Sporting News has him highly ranked, possibly as high as in the number 2 unit. They take basically 4 running backs and call that the first team, 4 running backs the second team, and they've got him listed on that second team. So
yeah, a lot of the scouts that have been through, he is their number 1 prospect from this ball club, Washington State.
Second down and 4 after the gain by Porter. Porter has it again, and Ricky Andrews, number 55 there, along with Steve Roberts, who had the initial hit, number 94.
Steve Roberts back in the ball game, taking over for Jay Roberts. There's Kerry Porter.
My goodness, look at Mo Hill's back. Oh, Mo, goodness sakes, looks like I'm gonna be okay. I'm all right. President Bill Gerberding talking to him right now, the president of the University of Washington. Back to the field, 3rd down and 3 from the 37. Rick Chase in motion. Blunt looks to his right as James and Tony Zachary right there on the 42-yard line. Good for the first down.
Alan James in on that tackle. He started the first 5 or 6 ball games for Washington. Then Darrell Hall just simply beat him out. Darrell Hall coming on, understanding the system, and started doing the little things, and that's what caused him to be able to win the starting position.
And Darrell had a good spring too, if I recall. A lot of progress last spring, getting ready for the '86 season. First and 10 after the completion to James. Victor Wood going in motion now to the left. What? To go upstairs, better hurry. Across the middle, Vic Wood. Just beyond the fingers, we've got a flag down. Back near the line of scrimmage as Ed Blunt came ever so close to breaking one against the Huskies.
He said, oh, just that much.
He says, I got to bring that magic that I felt against SC. And a lot of people said if he had a game like he did against SC, they could win this game.
That's right. He threw for 300 yards against USC. And the offense was totally dominating. They had USC on their heels all ball game. They've not been able to get consistent. They again have to rely on Washington penalties to sustain a drive.
Holding, defense, automatic first down.
So the ball is now on the 48, just inside the 48 of Washington. They had a 94-yard drive earlier with a number of penalties on the Huskies that kept it going. And it just happened again. First and 10 on the 47. Bircher goes in motion, one of the wide receivers. Fakes to Tingstad, pitch to Porter. Good defense by Alan James and Tony Zachary. They just simply strung out the play and were able to get him after about a 1-yard gain.
Ken Kuiper just couldn't get out of Kerry Porter's way so that he could turn the ball upfield. In Washington State on Thursday, they had a practice. That was the last practice for the seniors, and they did what they have a tradition here. On the last practice, they let the seniors run through the tunnel. The band forms a tunnel, and they announce their names, and the rest of the team is at the center of the field. It was a great thing to watch, the camaraderie of this ball club.
7:25 remaining in this one as James goes in motion on 2nd down and 9. Lob it over the top. Rod Olson, he's got it inside the 20, down near the 15-yard line, and of course the first down. Bo Yates making the stop, But Rod Olson has had an outstanding afternoon, the redshirt freshman out of Walnut Creek, California.
That's his 6th catch, but watch Ed. He just simply splits the safeties, lays it up. Similar to the same throw he threw that he overthrew Victor Woods with. This time he takes a little bit off, shows a little touch, and lays it in for Rod Olson, who's had a great game.
29-yard play, 1st and 10 from the 17. Porter on the draw. Lots of room up the middle inside the 10 to near the 7-yard line.
Carries down on the field. He really took a shot.
You could hear the thump from up here. Blunt in the passing department, by the way, 14 of 23, 216 yards. That further dramatizes his effort last week against Oregon, where in 21 minutes and 45 seconds of that second half, when he came into the game, passed for 270 yards and 2 touchdowns to Kittrick Taylor. Here's Porter.
Watch the shot that Kerry Porter. He accelerates through that hole, and then out of nowhere, he runs into Demoy Williams.
I wonder if they'll try to go to Kittrick Taylor. Get him that 10th touchdown pass reception.
I kind of doubt it because he's not in the ball game.
He's not in the game. I know. That's what I was looking for. He's not there right now. Not on this play, anyway. Oh, fumble. Kingstad jumping on it. Maybe he'll come in on this play.
Ed Blunt getting hit just as he tried to make that pitch, and that's what knocked the ball loose. And Ed Kingstad was able to fall on the football.
So it's 3rd down and 3 with the ball on the 9-yard line.
I really don't think, though, that coaches think about records.
Not even like this, though. A senior could tie a school record.
Yeah, but you get so caught up in the emotion of the ball game and stuff like that, you forget about that.
That could very well be. Stallworth goes in motion. They go with a draw to Porter. Oh, and he's got one of the line of scrimmage. Keeps his feet. What a run by Kerry Porter. Oh, my.
Tom Erlinson is still down on the field.
Erlinson and Porter met at the line of scrimmage, and there is no question who won the battle.
Well, what a comeback by Kerry Porter, because he just got stoned on the previous play, and then he comes in and just runs right over Tommy Erlinson, keeps his feet going, and goes into the end zone for a touchdown.
Look at this. You can see it a little better, I think. Right there.
Boom.
Porter is no small running back at 6'2", 215 pounds. That's a lot of beef coming at you. And, of course, Erlinson, no small person either at the same size, 215. Cougars going for 2. Blunt wants to throw. Better hurry. Too far. As Reggie Rogers was coming up from behind, and Steve Roberts. 5:39 remaining here in the 4th quarter of Apple Cup 86. Washington leading 41-23. This is the Kelly Sports Network.
Workers in American business who know through experience that the road to success isn't paved. We present telecommunication services to make getting there a little easier. We are U.S. West. Nobody knows the trails better.
There's the story, as you see, 41-23, the man being administered to, Reggie Rogers, as Washington State went for 2. 5:39 remaining as the sun has just about left us. And now we got an onside attempt by Washington State. Ball bouncing around, and finally Washington coming up with it. Let's see.
Yes,
as
they did.
The Huskies had receivers up front, which is only the natural thing to do, and it is Husky ball. And the crowd beginning to file out of here now.
Today's crowd was 40,000, a sellout at Martin Stadium.
Which is only appropriate. So the Huskies, let's see who they have out there. Franklin comes out. And we'll see who's at quarterback. It is still Chris Chandler. And Slater, you see, comes wide to the left side. 1st and 10 from the Cougar 45. Weathersby again trying to get around the corner. Might be tough this time. Oh, Erwin Chappelle came up and dipped the left shoulder right into VW. And Vince pops up after a short gain. 3 yards, 2nd down and 7. 5:18 remaining. And Washington State calls its first timeout of the half. Weathersby now 23 carries, 151 yards. Timeout on the field. We'll take one of our own. 41-23 Washington here in the Palouse. Looks like they'll be winning Apple Cup 86. Back in a minute. Husky fans, whether you live in Westport, Wenatchee, Walla Walla, or anywhere in Washington, Pemco can save you money. Let Pemco tackle all your personal insurance needs. Auto, home, and boat. Discover our fast, friendly service. Then you'll know why over 300,000 Washington residents insure with Pemco. And you can report a claim day or night, 7 days a week. The clock never runs out at Pemco. Put Pemco in your court. Call for a free rate quotation now.
Hello, Brian. I was with her last night. You know who? That blonde with the Porsche. Guess what happened? Yeah.
Union Bay Sportswear. You wear it. You don't talk about it.
Back to Martin Stadium. You see some of the crowd beginning to file out. You think about it, though. If Washington State were to pick up a quick one, that would put it at 41-30, and that's only an 11-point lead. And had they gotten the 2-point conversion, it would have been within 16. 2 touchdowns and a field goal. 2nd down and 7 for the Huskies now on the Cougar 42-yard line. Weathersby right up the middle to the 30, down to the 20, inside the 20-yard line as he found a seam, and some great blocking by Garth Thomas. Mark Larson in there. Many of the up people as Ron Collins and Erwin Chappelle make the stop for the Cougars. Clay Griffith doing well. We lose your microphone there, Sam? 23-yard play. Husky player of the game, and not a very tough one to figure out. Vince Weathersby. Before this run, he had 151 yards. $500 goes to the Husky Athletic Scholarship Fund in the name of Vince Weathersby from Rainier Beer. Congratulations to Vince at 174 yards. Tony Covington on 1st and 10 going up the middle. We'll have our Cougar player of the game as well from Rainier in just a moment. 4:39 remaining here in the Palouse. 41-23 the Huskies. They'll finish with an 8-2-1 record and head for El Paso, Texas on Christmas Day. Probably go down about a week beforehand. And the Cougars, it appears, will finish at 3-7-1. 2nd down and 8 on the 17. Slater is wide to the right. Weathersby inside the 15. Need to get to the 9 for the 1st down.
I think Washington wants to use as much time as possible.
Yeah,
Chris Chandler is letting that clock run down to 2 and 3 seconds. The 25-second clock run down to 2 or 3 seconds before he snaps that ball.
Third down and 5. Oklahoma, by the way, narrowly defeating Nebraska 20-17. Goodness. Tony Covington going off the right side on 3rd and 5.
Scott Jones running into the end zone, trying to get the fans fired up.
I thought maybe there was an announcement from the PA system.
No, it's because Jeff Jaeger is
coming onto the field. Here's the national record. Cougar player of the game goes to tight end Rod Olson, excuse me. The Rainier player of the game, $500 goes in Rod's name to the Washington State Athletic Fund, and we thank him.
What a great gesture
We'll
by
take a
Scott
timeout.
Jones.
Excuse me, Sam. We'll take a timeout. I'll be back for Jaeger's kick. This is the Kelly Sports Network.
If you're on the go, Fred Meyer's got what you want. When you're on the move or taking time out, you'll find the brands that set the pace. When it's time to get rolling, come to Fred Meyer first. We've got things to pump you up or cool you down, things for fun or just fooling around. You'll find what you want to help you get in shape and keep your shape. Your Fred Meyer store has things that are colorful and good for you, for working out and looking your best. For having a ball, we've got it all. You'll find what you need for your active life at Fred Meyer.
I think it influences pretty much all facets of your life.
KZOK presents Rock and Roll Classic.
A classic is just something that it's good.
If it's got what rock and roll has always had, which is hope, good, hot, dancing beat, and a lot of zip to it, it'll be classic for eternity.
It's just a song with lyrics or a beat that make you feel good.
We've brought the classics of rock and roll back to KZOK. Listen and you'll hear the difference. 102.5 Classic KZOK.
The scenario is obvious. He is tied with John Lee. Jeff Jaeger, 79 career field goals. He boots this one. He is all alone on top of the mountain. This would be number 80. From the 17-yard line, call it a 27-yarder. And the bench is emptying. The Husky bench surrounding Jeff Jaeger, his third field goal. And number 1 in the country. Field goal number 80. And Jaeger is getting his day in the sun. Even though he'll get one 4 weeks from now in Texas, El Paso.
You know, he's got to be happy to have that monkey off his back, because everybody talked about it going into the season and saying, when do you think you're going to break the record? And then with the productivity of the offense this year, he was not allowed that many attempts. Normally they were getting stalled and they were not being able to score down close, so he was getting an opportunity to kick a lot of field goals. Then all of a sudden this offense caught fire under Chris Chandler, and now, boy, he didn't have that many opportunities. And it looked like he might not be able to break that record. But fortunately, he does.
We might mention it's been very, very tough to pick a Rainier player of the game. We gave it to Vince Weathersby. He had well over 150 yards. A great effort on the part of Vince. Certainly a great effort on the part of Jeff Jaeger as well. And Brian Slater with 3 touchdown receptions today. Very tough. And again, congratulations to all the Huskies, and those 3 especially. And Jeff Jaeger, just a great kicker. What can you say? Matt Sears gets the loose ball. And he gets out beyond the 30-yard line. 3 minutes and 11 seconds remaining in Apple Cup 86. And the Cougars will have the ball. The celebrating still going on down on the Husky sideline. Bit of a monkey off their back, too, with a victory here in Coleman, Sam.
That's right. Don James will be glad to have bragging rights. You know, the 3 out of 4, and every call-in show was, when are you going to beat the Cougars? And he says, wait a minute, the season's just starting. They're the last game of the year.
That's exactly right. First down and 10 on the 33-yard line for the Cougs. Ed Blunt probably starting his last offensive drive, and oh my. Jay Roberts in for his 2nd sack of the day. And now he's waving at the crowd, and you know what he can do with the Husky crowd. 4th sack for the Huskies overall today. But he is great at firing up the Husky crowd before kickoffs.
He has really bulked up a little bit from his baseball playing days. He was in the Atlanta Braves farm system as a professional baseball player. Decided to hang it up and play some football.
And Don James couldn't be happier. He is thrilled with the play of Jay Roberts. 2nd down and 16 after the 4th sack for the Huskies this afternoon. Blunt looking across the middle. Rick Chase, and you will not see that very often. Chase, outstanding receiver, especially in that area, across the middle.
What a shot by Ed Blunt. throwing that ball right between the corner and the safety. A perfect throw, but that was a display of the kind of arm strength that he has. He just threw that one on a rope.
Sam, a lot of people feel that Blount could be an outstanding Canadian Football League quarterback.
Well, I think he can, because he's got a real strong arm. People don't realize how good of a thrower he is.
3rd down and 16 from the 27. Looking left. Has a man short of the first down, but Michael James has the reception. Check that. It's Bircher, Mark Bircher.
Senior playing his last ball game.
Right. Like I said, it's dark. That's the far side of the field. 2:10 remaining. And I can't really blame some of the fans as we have a timeout on the field. Some of the fans heading for warmer territory. 14-yard pass play to Bircher.
Or some of the Husky fans trying to get the good seats for the celebration.
And we plan to go into the locker room later, with the winning team being the Huskies for the trophy presentation. Talk about that more as Chase goes in motion on 4th down and 3. They'll go for it. Oh, Rod Olson. After a great afternoon, couldn't hold on. It'll be Husky ball, and Rod is still down after taking a pretty hefty shot.
Boy, did he take a shot.
A lot of names will stick in the minds of Huskies and Cougar fans in this game. Olson, one of them, coming from nowhere to come up with a great afternoon in the receiving department.
Watch Ed Blount deliver this one right on the money, and then Tim Peoples just unloads on Rod Olson.
Peoples, one of the people in the finalists for the Jim Thorpe Award, is one of the top secondary or defensive backs in the country.
You know, Don, you keep mentioning how dark it is here and the lack of lighting. There's 2 great throws by Ed Blount, yes, and you have to wonder whether the lighting is part of a problem here. The receiver is having a tough time picking up that football, and when you throw it with the kind of velocity that Ed Blount throws the football with, then that adds to the compounds the problem.
For Jim Walden, he'll fall 3 and 6 now against Don James, but goodness knows he will be back.
Well, or could this be his last Apple Cup?
Yeah. Coming up, Apple Cup trophy presentation will be down in the Husky locker room, and let's talk about that. Houston, University of Houston, has asked permission to talk with Jim Walden. He's still rumored about Wisconsin. He's still rumored about Iowa State job.
He was rumored about California.
He has emphatically denied that he has applied or has talked with anyone at Iowa State, but you still have to wonder.
Well, I think that people around the country know what kind of rivalry this is, and they want to let him get this ball game out of his mind and let him go ahead and settle things. And then they want to get some of these schools want to get their new head coach early enough so that he can get involved in recruiting, because it's going to be his first recruiting class, and he's going to have to build his kind of a football program.
So I guess it's stay tuned.
That's exactly right.
By the way, it looks like Kerry Porter is going to come up 82 yards short of a 1,000-yard season. Needed 169. He's at 87 today. 1st and 10 now for the Huskies after taking over on the 4th down attempt by the Cougars. Andre Riley trying to pick up yardage. And Kerry Conklin at quarterback for the Huskies for the last minute and 45 seconds. But this one is all but wrapped up, as the Washington Huskies will come in here now, or have come in, pick up an 8-2-1 record. And again, Conklin running on a 2nd down and 10. And he'll keep it on the ground. From the 41. Fumble. Cougars have it.
Irwin Chappelle was the one who came up with the fumble.
Again, we want to mention, if the color on your set is a little strange at home or it's hard to see, well, it's simply a case of it's getting very late and very dark, and these are not game lights. They're excellent for practice, but not for a game.
This is what drives Don James crazy. He doesn't care how far ahead you are. You have to put that football away, and he does not tolerate fumbles. And that's the tough thing, you know, when you're a backup player and you're in the garbage time, you're going out there, you're trying to do something, you just sit there and mentally you say, man, I've got to perform so that I'll get more playing time, and then that consequently results in mistakes.
Concentrate. First and 10 for the Cougs. 1:11 remaining on their own 39. Blunt going to throw again. Michael James up to the 50 and out of bounds. Clock stopped, and a late hit by Lilo Lang.
Yes.
Coming in to play cornerback.
He was moved from quarterback last year, or this year, because of the emergence of Kerry Conklin.
Let's take a look at it. Don James talking with the referee. Quite clearly a late hit.
Oh, yeah, watch. He goes out of bounds. He steps out of bounds there, and then Lilo Lang just comes and unloads.
Yeah.
Just wants to get his name in the paper and his name in the books, but he's in Don James' doghouse.
At least we do know he likes to hit. First and 10 now on the Cougar 39-yard line. Check that, Washington 39.
You know, he moved from quarterback to cornerback, and because of the emergence of Kerry Conklin, which also forced another quarterback to leave the program, Ed Powers.
All right, with the penalty now, it is first and 10 from the Husky 35. 1:06 remaining. James in motion. Here comes. Jay Roberts was right in the face of Ed Blunt on that pass. Tifono in there. Albert Tifono defending as a linebacker for the Huskies.
Ed Blunt trying to throw the ball to Mitch Dillard, he's a converted tackle. They moved him outside to tight end because they got so thin at that position. And tight end coach John Fabris has definitely earned his money this year, having to teach a lot of new people the position of tight end.
Second down and 10. Draw, Porter. Short of the first down, but a great run by Kerry. As we're into the last minutes of Apple Cup 1986.
Washington State called their hurry-up offense the Mayday offense.
Mayday. Third and short. Across the middle, deflected. Mike Gaffney with the interception. He's got a lot of room to run. He's got two blockers in front of him. Three. Let's see if he can go the distance. Still alive. He's got lots of jerseys around him, white jerseys, but I believe it is Kerry Porter. Yes.
Let's see
Kerry
if he
brings
gives
him
up
down.
the football. Let's see if he hangs on to that one.
Mike is a senior. If I was him, I would hold on to that until I was 65.
I believe so. He's earned his keep in this program. Wore number 8 last year. Great special teamer. He always is in there studying film. He knows his role on this ball club.
Wasn't he an original walk-on?
He was an original walk-on.
Had a block kick against UCLA.
And he recovered it for a touchdown. A block kick.
Earlier in the year, that's right.
That pass was deflected and went right to him. It was a definite gimme. 67-yard return.
So the Huskies have 29 seconds remaining to see if they can stuff it into the end zone one more time. Kerry Porter up to 96 yards. What a shame. We were hoping he could get 100. For the Huskies as we get into the depth chart now. Roland Ruff carrying. And the clock continues to roll. 14-13. That may do it.
That will be the last play of the ball game.
And Don James and the Huskies pick up the victory. Jim Walden says next year. It was fun, but we'll see you in Seattle in 1987.
And they are stomping all over the Washington State logo in the middle of the field.
All the Huskies went out on the logo right on the 50. You're right, Sam. Again, to a certain degree, it is a case of getting rid of that monkey on their backs. Once again, the final score, Washington 44, the Cougars 23. Back with the trophy presentation in just a moment. This is the Kelly Sports Network. Audience as well on delayed television. Coach Don James along with me. I'm Don Poyer. And Don, anytime you can get a victory in the Palouse, you got to feel good walking out of there.
Victories are not easy against Washington State, so it was fun. It was, I think our players